Hang on, we got into a weird Strahd lobby. That's not Strahd at all! Strahd! Strahd? Strahd Mlazanovich? There she is. We lost Lux's camera immediately. Very fine. Hello everyone! And welcome to Ready City Crits Curse of Strahd, the wrap-up stream. This is where we finish everything off. We talk about everything we have seen, experienced, and all that jazz. Vil immediately dropping 5 gifted subs out of fucking nowhere. I'm getting a very annoying pinging notification. I think it's from my own stream.
It's not for me for a change.
I think Streamlabs is bugged out and it's enabled noises on its alerts. But that's fine, I've muted them now, they can go fuck themselves. I don't care if I get lag frames, who cares, let's push through. So basically the purpose is to round off all of the questions or like cliffhangers or things that we weren't completely clear at the end of last session from at any point during the campaign. So I have a few like prompts and things that I can like push us through, and I think it'd be nice to kind of go through those from a DM's point of view of like, you know, questions about, you know, the campaign from your guys' perspective, because, you know, obviously I probably will want to run Curse of Strahd again in the future and I want to know how I'm going to run it better or worse, or, you know, what was great and what I can omit and stuff like that. And then after that, I figure we can open it up to you guys as players, and at the very, very end, if anyone's asked any questions in chat, we can go back through them and then, like, you know, round them off. If there's any, you know, like, on the fly or, like, anything like that, we can, like, just kind of pick them up at the end. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Does that make sense? Unless there's anything, like, pressing you guys want to delve into. Obviously, Max Vilsort can't be with us tonight. He is off getting shit-faced. Slancheville, I'm getting shit-faced in my own house.
Nice.
Good job. But ask away in the chat and... so we'll answer at the end.
So we'll do chat questions right at the end. I think I've got a few prompts and stuff I want to go through just from a very gamey DM kind of point of view, because I think that will also help kind of get us in the mood of like what we're dealing with and all that shit.
I think I'm really interested in some sort of insights, because obviously I'm looking to potentially run this at some point later in the year for my home group. Oh yeah, fun. I guess the first question that I would have is, the session that we had last week came to an end, not rushed, but obviously we were very aware of the clock because it was pushing like, you know, it was very late, particularly for Seeker. So
sorry.
No, it's alright. It's time's fault. It's not your fault. If you'd have had an extra hour or an extra hour and a half, what would have been different to the end of that session from your perspective to wrap up the story?
I think I would have ruled for things like Esmeralda's shot on Strahd. That made very much sense from a story point of view, and it was in my notes as like, if we're running low on time, I can shoehorn Esmeralda in as like the, like, because you guys did all the work. You killed Strahd whenever Max reduced him to 0 hit points the first time, and then the Shadow came and he went Mythic mode. That was vanilla Strahd. You killed him. That was it. The session would have been over within 2 hours of starting, theoretically, if I played it by the book originally.
Yeah.
So I had Mythic Strahd on standby specifically for that reasoning, but I was like, I'm going to run Strahd bare bones and see what happens. Because, like, at that point, you guys were like, you know, fuck, we were, like, some of you were like, you know, 36 hit points and stuff, and it was like, I could throw in a really strong Strahd, because some of you are on max hit points, but then I'm just going to fucking kill everyone on low health. So it was very hard from my point of view trying to balance, like, because I knew, you guys didn't know that, like, that had to be it, like, but the second I, you know, got into full, like, fucking armor pieces and, like, full, like, kitted out gear and stuff, like, I wasn't going to do that again a week later. Like, I wasn't going to have time or, like, because I'm in the middle of moving house. Like, so I was like, it has to end, like, this week. Like, this has to be us. So I was like, I'll play Strahd like a fucking asshole. I'll use all of his, like, legendary actions. I'll walk him through walls like he can do in the castle. Like, I'll do everything I want to do. To, like, make him a bitch to play against. But I'll just see how you guys fare against, like, the vanilla. and then like if I'm like, okay, cool, well I'll bring in the mythic, and then I'll keep fucking you as long as I can. And I was just keep an eye on the clock, keep an eye on the clock, keep an eye on the clock. But like realistically, like you guys did defeat Mythic Strahd in the time frame easy. Realistically, once you got into that like crypt area with him and stuff, and like, you know, Esmeralda obviously took the shot for argument's sake, but like Seeker and Callan arrived a turn later anyway, and someone would have got in there, would have been able to like hammer a stake into him or finish him off whatever way. Like at that point he was mortal, he would have died by, you know, any means that would kill a normal mortal. I only brought him back at 1 hit point, so.
Also, did you balance around the potions that involve vulnerability that we forgot about?
Yeah.
You know what? That was the one thing when we was like, I had like 1 spell slot left, which I was saving to kill Max.
I looked at all your character sheets. I told you guys, I was like, I'm gonna look at all your character sheets now, and then next week I'll balance the encounter based on what you have. So it'll be challenging, but not like, you know, oh, we were never gonna win. Because that was pointless. Why would you ever want to enter a situation like? Because if Strahd wanted to, he could have killed you all. He'd just be like, whoosh, and like whistle, and like a horse, 100 vampire spawn, 1,000,000 zombies, 45 wolves. Like, that's the thing about Curse of Strahd. It's not like a. That's it. Yeah, it's a game, but it's not just a game for you guys. It's a game for Strahd.
Yeah.
You're in his land, he's bored, he wants to toy with you and tease you, work out what you can and can't face, and that's the whole appeal. Like, it's like a challenge. He wants to see what you guys can handle if he throws it at you.
Plus, Strahd is pretty vain, isn't he? Like, he was full on, yeah, I'll fuck them up.
Yeah, of course he was.
To be fair, he's, you know, he has been, you know, he is ancient, he is the land. He's been the one controlling factor in that place for however many years. Vanity's gonna seep in, isn't it?
Yeah,
complacency.
Definitely arrogance. Yeah. Is what I would say. Describe Strahd in a nutshell. He's a very, very arrogant character. But yeah, to answer the question properly, Rob, I've kind of covered what happened during the session. But what I would do if I had more time, I would have not like done the hand wave, like the bride's all writhed on the ground and able to fight back, and like, you know, Strahd dies and he has this moment. I would have given Strahd his moment. It was no matter who killed him. That like, whenever I first started this campaign, I was like, okay, right, I want to have this moment with Strahd. I don't want it to be that fucking annoying loop that it always is. I want to give them that like moment that Strahd's like, I feel warm. I thought that was just like, I woke up in the middle of the night thinking of that. Like at one point I wrote it down. I wrote I feel warm on a notepad at the side of my bed, and I woke up the next day like, what the fuck does that mean? And then like that was whenever I'd bought the book like a few days prior and was like, yeah, that's fucking really good. That's fucking I like that. I want to make I feel warm a thing.
What was it originally? You said he says something different or what?
He doesn't say anything. He just looks surprised, and then he like bubbles and turns to ash and dust and vanishes. When he dies.
Surprised face Strahd, like.
Was him the resurrection thing? Was that your idea in the first place? Was that?
Yeah. So that's not in the book. That's all on me. That's all like, because that's the whole thing about that dark gift is like, I can resurrect anyone no matter how long they've been dead for. It's like Strahd has been dead for like 800 years. So you can't resurrect him by normal means. It's like, okay. That's not a normal means. That's literally the whole point of that design. And I was like, so why was that in there if not to be used to break this loop? Because that's the whole point. Strahd can't... If you play it by the book, as it is, if Strahd dies, he comes back in a couple of months. Or like a year. He comes back. Everyone who leaves Barovia, or if a non... Like, you met a few people in Barovia who didn't have souls. I mentioned it a few times through the campaign. If they leave Barovia, they immediately die. Just like that. So if you had anyone who didn't have a soul, you're like, I fucking love this NPC, let's take him with us. They'd be in the wagon with you, leaving Barovia, and then they start coughing up blood horribly, and then they just turn to mist and die. And that was it, they're gone. Because they weren't real. They were souls. They were figments of Strahd and, like, you know, the Shadowfell. Like, they weren't real. But anyone who leaves Barovia while the mists are gone escapes. And then eventually the mists close back in, and Strahd is reborn, or another Dark Lord takes his place. That's the whole thing about Domains of Dread and stuff. Like, they're horrible. They're shit. They're not meant to be fun or enjoyed. And that is the whole nature of the Shadowfell. Like, history repeats itself. And repeats itself. And repeats itself. And that's why Strahd is so cocky whenever you guys find him. Because, yes, he's dealt with 150 million adventurer parties like you before, and he will deal with 150 after you. You are just another step in the cycle. Because he knows where he is. He's very conscious of what's going on around him.
So, wait, Van Richten. I'm not sure if I remember. Was he? Did he have a sword or didn't he? I'm not sure if he had the ability to leave Barovia and the entire Demoplane in general. I wasn't sure.
So Van Richten and Esmeralda and people like that, they are a little bit different. Esmeralda's a Vistani, so Vistani have Strahd's blessing to come and go as they please. But everyone else who comes into Ravenloft basically has to be granted permission to leave or be smuggled out by the Vistani. Van Richten came in with the intention of killing Strahd. Van Richten's story is a very, very sad one. It's a very long story. I won't delve too deep into it because it's all written into the book, and I'll happily send you guys a written copy if you want. But long story short, Van Richten's only son was kidnapped by... Was it by Strahd? It was by a very powerful vampire lord. It may have been Strahd, correct me if I'm wrong. Or it was another group of vampires. But long story short... Tapio, there we go. Long story short, basically his... There you go. Yes, he's originally from Darkon. So he actually was born into a Domain of Dread. Darkon, effectively. Erasmus is his son. They were stolen by the Vistani and sold to a vampire named Baron Metis to be used as a companion. But by the time Van Richten found his son, it was too late. His son was already a vampire spawn, who then begged his father to end his suffering, which Van Richten did by killing his own son.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, yeah, that emotional moment.
Yeah, and then Baron Metis avenged the killing of his lover, basically Van Richten's son, by killing Van Richten's wife, and then Van Richten then, like, kind of, that's whenever Van Richten's curse of, like, everyone who is around me eventually dies by horrible means. Like, that's where that curse comes from. It's like, he made a deal with the Vistani of, like, take me to my fucking son, and they were like, okay, but the deal may have some consequences, and he's like, I don't care what the son is, let's do it, and they go.
Gotcha.
And the whole thing. That's fine. I'm just trying to wrap up the original question from Callum, which is what I would do differently in that final session if I have more time. So I'm trying to keep looping it back. We keep going on tangents. That is great. But that's the whole point of these kind of sessions, so you can like explore everything. What would I do differently? You guys would have had to leave the crypts manually. I wouldn't have just like noped you out of there. You would have to find your way back because Ravenloft is still full of traps and a lot of other shit. Rahadin, Strahd's Chamberlain, is supposed to show up after Strahd dies and try to fight you all when you're very low in health and injured. That is in the book. That is supposed to happen. I chose to avoid it because of time and also because it doesn't really add anything to my story. And I made you guys stand on the edge of Ravenloft, kind of looking over, because that's how I kind of always envisioned this campaign ending. Whether you guys kept Irina with you all the way through or not, I always wanted Strahd's brother to find you, Sergei, to find you there. And if you had, if Irina and him had already found each other, like they did in Kresk, or Krezk, then great, because they're together. And if they weren't together yet, because you guys have restrained her away from that pool or whatever, then she would have had the opportunity to go with him, and then their souls would have been free. And I think I would have liked to have dragged that moment out a bit more. Things like Strahd's Bride and stuff, I would have loved to have dragged that out continually as well, all through.
Was the whole lake thing, was that like kind of your thing a bit twisted then? Was that like from the book?
Lake Zarovich, what was in Lake Zarovich, like to answer Bill's question and stuff, basically, I put a water leviathan in Lake Zarovich, a very, very powerful water elemental. They're very, very strong. They can summon like fucking tsunamis and all sorts. But basically, Lake Zarovich as it is, it's just a lake. That's it. It's boring. It's like a quarter of the map, but it's just a lake. And I was like, that's why? It should have a shot. There should at least be a risk of this lake, because Strahd's spies are bats and wolves, and that's kind of it, I guess. You got zombies and vampire spawn, but none of them interact with water very well. So there's no it's not like, oh yeah, he also has tiger sharks. Like there's nothing. So the water could be safe, and I didn't want you guys to ever feel safe.
Makes sense.
And that's why I was always making it very clear, like, you want to go near the water? Okay, cool. Here's a very obvious dice. Like, I made it very clear what I was doing, because even if your characters felt safe, I didn't want you as a player to feel safe anywhere in Barovia.
Basically, we were nearing like Zarwich due to, who was it? A man dropping a child in there in a sack, isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's Bluto and Arabelle. Bluto the drunk, and Arabelle, who's the daughter of the Vistani of the town Valaki.
And our druid, for what reason did Melville swim into the lake?
Someone asked.
Because he wanted to.
Yeah, I think someone asked as well to see how deep it gets, so I was like, oh, sure.
Yeah, and he wild shaped into a water creature, so like swimming down, and we had some insane luck on the rolls, didn't we?
A lot of people that I know have put things like aboleths in the lake, which is like a very fitting creature for Barovia and stuff. And it makes sense because, like, yeah, the aboleth controls Bluto's mind, and that's what prompts it and stuff. I deliberately stayed away from it because it's a very common adaptation, and I was worried you guys might have picked up on it from like a forum or somewhere online or read about it. And also because aboleths are more, like, they're already mind game and fuckery, but that's already what Strahd was. I didn't need another mind game fuckery. I needed something hard hitting and scary. Like, there was, in my ideal world, like, I was rolling when you guys were on, like, Van Richten's Tower and stuff at Lake Baratok. And, like, theoretically, a water elemental could have formed there as well. Because it wasn't a water elemental, it was Strahd, because Strahd is the land. The same way Strahd could form his face in the clouds, why couldn't Strahd form his face in the lake and smash the water against you and cause a tsunami to wash you away? Like, why couldn't he do that? Like, it makes... Strahd is the land. That's the terrifying bit. He is everything you step on and walk through and wait around. He is... This is his prison, but he's been here so long, he knows exactly every little inch works.
And he basically became the prison in the end.
Yeah, well, he died at the end. Like, yeah, he was a prisoner of his own prison, in a sense, but that was designed for him. It was his own world, and whenever you guys killed him and freed him, you broke his curse, effectively. You broke the curse of Strahd. Because, you know, no matter how much evil and horror he committed, sometimes you just need to kill that evil as opposed to trying to trap it somewhere. Well, eventually we'll escape.
When it comes to the cards, you know, our fortune,
yes.
Was it something? Did you actually like roll it yourselves, or did you like ever re-roll any cards? Like you got an option you didn't quite like, so you changed it.
I drew the cards for you guys with a what would be counted as a rigged deck because I'd already draw them in advance. I let on in the session that was like, oh, this is changing so many things, my notes, but I knew what they were going to be. I drew them in advance, I had a rough idea of what the fuck was going down.
Oh, I mean...
It makes sense, to be fair.
It was meant more for, like, did you, like, pick the card you wanted, or was it, like,
no.
Completely just...
No. I didn't pick them, I drew them randomly. And I dealt with them as they came. I was honestly, if I had to randomly pick the cards, I was very happy with how the spread fell. The only card I would have redrawn was the Mother Knight card, the Werewolf Den. I think the Werewolf Den's a shit area, a shit combatant. It's just annoying. Unless you play one of the hooks is focused a lot on werewolves. And it's like, yeah, children are going missing in Faerun, like, you don't know what's going on, like, that's your hook. So your guy's hook was like the Vistani outside Daggerford. That was your hook. But there's a completely different hook that focuses on werewolves abducting children, and they're the werewolves. That's why the children are there. It makes a lot of sense. Like, that makes great sense for a werewolf, like, card to be drawn for, like, the Tome of Strahd. Because you come in, so you guys came in on this side of Barovia, the east side. Mm-hmm. Yeah. On the other one, you come in on the opposite side of Barovia. You come in at Kresik.
Oh.
So you play it backwards. So Castle Ravenloft is at the end, Barovia looming over it, with Irina and Ismark there. So you have to fight quickly through Kresik and Vallaki and Wizards of Wines and get there. And eventually you find Castle Ravenloft, or maybe you're like, there's this woman he's after, and we think she, you get clues that she might be in the village, so then you go to Barovia. And normally Esmeralda reads your fortune, because she's the first Vistani you meet who can read fortunes. So it completely flips the adventure on its head. And if I was going to do this campaign again, I would do it that way around this time, to mix it up. Because that means you get to explore a lot more about Kresik, and about the Abbot, and the Wizards of Wine, and all that whole side of the map you guys kind of just brush over quickly, because you're like, yeah, well, Vallaki's our hub now, and we're going to work from Vallaki, so that's all the west. We'll do all the west together quickly and then come back. But if you're this is our starting area, we're going to work through the starting area, then you work through it. It's a nice twist.
Yeah, I think by the time we got to the winery and Kresik, we were enough on Strahd's radar that he was like, I know who you are, I know where you are, I know
what you're doing.
Find you. And we were not wanting to stay too long in the same place because we didn't feel safe because of all.
You didn't have time.
You're running out of time.
I think that was the only place I wish we visit more was Kresik. That was quite. I really liked it.
You kept wanting to go back to Kresik. It's bro,
that's because I always wanted to know what happened to the town. What did happen? See.
So if you want to know exactly what happened to Kresik, the dragon arrived. Mm-hmm. It terrorized very, very briefly. The Abbot basically took control of it very, very briefly with his angelic powers. Stopped the attack. Strahd then arrived shortly after, and him and the Abbot struck a deal. He asked why you guys were in Kresik, what you were doing, where Irina was, and whenever the Abbot couldn't answer him where Irina was or what was going on, but he did say that you guys had left Stella there, Strahd was like, fine, give me the girl, and I will leave Kresik in peace. And the Abbot, being a Celestial, although corrupted, he still saw the loss of life for one, not a unworthy sacrifice, and gave Stella up to Strahd to save the rest of Kresik. So Kresik was more or less untouched. The Abbey was slightly damaged, but it was a lot better off than it could have been. I think it's the best way to describe it.
Also, the Strahd's brides, the ones that we found in the script, were those made by the Abbot, or were those different people?
They are
his bride as well.
They are people who Strahd took an interest in during his life. I kind of I've seen a lot of different ways to play Strahd, and I've read a lot of vampiric lore and stuff, and there's vampiric lore that I've read that makes Strahd a lot less creepy, where it's basically vampires, especially male vampires, can't have sex. It's something that they can do because they're cold-blooded. Basically, they're undead. They don't have blood. They don't have a pulse. So they can't get it up effectively to be crude. So it kind of removes that incel kind of side of them. And it's more yes, this is, this is Petrina. She's a wonderful artist. She creates, some of those beautiful sculptures I've ever seen, and her paintings are adorable. This is so-and-so. She's the smartest woman I've ever met. Ask her any question. This is, X. She's the most powerful spellcaster I've met in my life. They all have use and purpose, and immorality is, best, spread, given to those who are gifted. And that's such a, beautiful kind of way I think to do it, and it kind of removes Strahd's creepy, horrible, incel-y vibe that he gives off. But I didn't want Strahd not to have that. I wanted to be horrible and disgusting, so I gave Strahd the horrible, creepy, incel vibe, because that's what I wanted in my campaign. I wanted that disgusting kind of overall feeling towards him, and I think that came across quite clear.
It definitely did,
especially in the first session whenever he was at the window.
That was
a year ago.
Fucking time flies.
Jesus.
So I guess I'm going to jump on that because this is a good point, but I've also got a few questions as well to keep things moving and stuff. But obviously this was a gothic horror campaign. Did it fit that bill? What was your scariest moment, of the whole campain? You would say. Just go around, anyone jump in, or you don't have to speak if you don't want to.
Want to start, Rob? I have you first on my left from Discord. I'm not sure if you...
That's nice to nominate me while I'm very clearly in thinking mode.
Sorry.
Um,
I can if you wish.
You guys can ask me something else. You can come back to that if you want to have a moment to think. But
I have 2 ideas, I think.
I've got one if you want. I mean, I'm thinking it was the happiest campaign ever. No,
joyful, great.
So joyful. No, it was definitely fit the bill, and it's everything I could ever expect from like the Strahd thing. Especially when like kind of like before I signed up, originally to the quest, I actually looked and was like, oh, what was Strahd like kind of thing, and they said that it's Coffee Coral is like one of the best modules, and I think you really like made me see why and how this was like one of the best modules like the Wizards and Coast have like released. I think my 2 of the biggest oh shit moments, maybe 3 I have, was the first one was completely my fault, which was the basement when I nearly thought we nearly all died because of the skeletons.
In Lady Wactor's house.
The house, yeah. When you went down, when you went after the fight, you went down and around.
Yeah. The second one was the vampires, where I did actually die there, because that was like.
That was also Valaki. That was the.
That was the coffin.
The grave, the coffin maker's house. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was like it was like a very old shit moment. I was away from my feet. I was like, oh no.
But to be fair, you can't blame yourself for that because I did red herring you guys. I fucking gaslighted you guys hard.
Oh yeah, no,
that was a fantastic trick because it wasn't like fighting the metagaming, but it was like you are relying on some glimmer of something that you know about vampires turning into bats.
Yeah.
That we haven't addressed in character, but you didn't know about vampire spawn not being able to. Like,
I took your meta knowledge and I turned it on your head, and I was like, "There you fucking go. Don't trust that ever again."
Best point is because I was very new to the NT, and now I generally just had no clue if they could or not. That's why I was like, do I know vampires? You made me roll for you. Went, who knows? I was like,
I remember you were suspicious because I made you roll for it, and I was like, you don't know, because I made it that Strahd went in, he invited you inside, he closed the door, and then I had like 6 bats fly away because I rolled Strahd's Children of the Night ability, and he rolled 5 bats, so he turned into a bat with them and flew off. So 5 bats like found him from away from you guys, and they all left together.
What I do remember is I remember Mel was sticking the hole at the front. Mold Earth. I was so addicted to that Mold Earth spell. I don't know why I can't do it.
Yeah. Clearly read one article about, Mold Earth is the best country.
No, is this so? Is this whenever I tell you that like the vampires all have spider climb? All of them.
I was new to the game, and I was like, I don't.
I don't know, but this is a good time to learn it. They all have spider climb. Like you guys missed it because in the final fight, I wanted to have Strahd come walking out on the crawling out on the fucking ceiling. I'm like, what the fuck is that? But like, I never got a chance because I was like, he just walks in the crypt because he's horrible. I needed him efficiency, not scary anymore.
At the point, I was just like, like digging the holes, like putting them in holes. That's a good idea. It's not because I didn't even know anything about Mordor. I was like, cool, like putting them in holes. That's a good idea, right? Like,
my favorite bit was you were like, the hut's leg that's in the swamp. Can I like dig a hole so it falls into the swamp? It's like the hut that's moving unimpeded through the swamp. Sure, you can dig a hole there, I guess.
That whole fight was like, oh god, something bad's gonna happen, and it was just like it was like moving through glue with that swamp, where there was an inevitability about the outcome of somebody's probably gonna die.
About that swamp.
That was so lucky that it wasn't a TPK.
Yes.
I'll throw it there. Like, whenever he was like, I want to check out Perez, so I'm gonna forge a letter about Perez and send you all there. I was like, okay, yep, that's your choice.
And so when did he do that then? When did he forge the letter?
Whenever you guys were preparing to head to the Wachter house, he was like, I'm gonna go to the shop and buy a shield, and then he messaged me and was like, I'm also gonna find a guy who can send a letter. I write a letter from the Hermit of Perez, and it's gonna say, and I was like, what's roughly gonna say? It's like, come find me the Hermit of Perez, heroes of Barovia. Cool. Sound, I'll get it sorted for you.
Because the thing with Nimir was that he was one of his things was also curiosity, especially after his gain of the dark powers.
Yeah, well, he wanted to see the same way Max had the draw to the Amber Temple. So did Namir. The problem was Namir didn't have the knowledge that Max had. He just had that pull towards Mount Gakkus.
Yeah,
he didn't know where the Amber Temple was. He just had this unnatural draw towards the mountain. And Perez was described as being at the foot of the mountain. So it was completely rational from his point of view. Like it was the perfect play of this kind of like, you know, chaotic, like evil character, didn't care about anyone else. Like, yeah, well, Perez, how bad can it be? It's a swamp, like, but the mountain's where I need to get to. I need to get to that mountain by any means necessary. And it's like, yeah.
Originally, the other plan was that, and this is gonna sound hilarious. He wanted to separate. I wanted to separate from the party for a bit, and I was like, yeah, Amber Temple, how far can it be? And I wanted him to. I think Melvin wanted to go along as well because he made a promise.
You know, we struck a deal, yeah. Because the whole point of Melvin was
they
like
would go alone to the Amber Temple at like level 5.
The whole point was when Melvin was like promise, he'll keep the end of the bargain, and that's what he promised you. He'll come to the temple with you after whatever it was we did.
If Nimir got to level 7 and got evasion, I think Bloodhunters do get it. He might be able to survive the fireballs, but I don't think he'd do the Amber Golem.
I mean, he probably could have snuck around.
And the Finger of Death, and
yeah, he did have to sneak around.
Because that nearly killed Callan. Callan was on 2 hit points.
Yeah, the Arcana Loth in there is a right bastard.
I think that was probably like, because the first 2 oh shit moments were just things, but I think the third one was when obviously we're very far into the campaign now, and I was getting quite attached to Lux, surprisingly, and I was enjoying playing him, and that was when we was in the dome, and the Arcana Loth was there. That was my like. You know, we saw the Lich and stuff, but when that kind of love came, I kind of froze. I think that was my big.
That was my favorite bit because he couldn't touch you guys really, like.
Yeah. But
he has the spell magic, but realistically, like he's one spellcaster against 2 martial and 2 spellcaster people, like on his own. Like, yes, when he gets to you on the drop on you, yeah, he's great. But standing outside a hut, like, what can he do? But it was a very good, that Gaius and all, that was like a beautiful moment. I really enjoyed that from a DM's point of view. It was like that tension and like that cross-party conflict. Because I think at that point, it had just started to fade. Like everyone was like, this is how Max is, and this is how Namir was, and like, this is just the way it happens in Barovia. And it was like, okay, but if you want to leave alive, you need to make sure he doesn't.
That was a fantastic wedge, and I think really good timing as well. Because it was building to a bit of a crescendo of, what is in the Amber Temple, what we're going to find, what we're going to walk away with, and then kind of coming in from as a blind side to be like, okay, well, how about this to think about as well? And we're like,
Especially because she'd met Izanathor and like learned about the dangers of the temple and how like, and even that Arcana Loth who you spoke of, because he put all his cards. He was like, look, I'm part of a group of wizards. We made this temple. It's supposed to keep all this dark shit in here. You guys are taking dark shit out of here. Don't do that. It's a terrible idea. That defeats the whole purpose of the Temporal. We can't destroy this knowledge. We have to contain it. So if any of you take it, like, I'm gonna have to kill you, kind of thing. And I know one of you has already taken something from here.
And I think that's the whole point of what Lux was so hesitant on not attacking him, was because he saw him as a good person. He had good ideals, that makes sense. Like, from his standpoint, Lux understand that. He was trying to do it from a good point, and that was another reason why I didn't ever try to remove the curse. It felt cheap to remove that kind of gears from the deal that the pact.
I wanted to ask why you didn't do a remove curse. That makes sense.
It's because Lux was lawful good.
Yeah, makes sense.
If Lux removed that, he probably would have stayed good. I don't think he would be lawful anymore, and that would mean he wouldn't be able to cross that barrier.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. That's why I was like, normally I don't play alignment. I don't like alignment very much in D&D. I think it's very restrictive. But it's very important because it comes up. And things like if you fail your Christmas save against Dark Powers and stuff, it changes, and it changes how your PC plays. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Any scary moments, by the way, from Callan or Seeker, or even the Mirror?
I have 3.
I've only got 1.
Doing the Callan's first, and then.
Yes.
I think
I've got 2. Yeah.
Because they might overlap.
This is the first campaign I've really been able to kind of get into character, because Callan is, although on the paper he's got the charisma, he's very like immature in the world, and he can be quite foolish sometimes with, what he tries to do. And I think after the after we confronted Strahd, and he turned to Callum, was like, you know, everybody's going to die because of you. That something along those lines. That was the moment where it's like, oh, I fucked up. It's like, you know, I may have made an error. And that was the thing that kind of got me in character, because, like, for me, being able to immerse in it was like everything. You know, role playing stuff in other like one shots and whatnot. Yeah, it's fun, but this felt like it mattered a lot more.
And it felt personal. I think that's what another point of really made us kind of immersed. It was a very personal journey for us characters, wasn't it? And like,
yeah, we grew pretty attached to them, didn't we?
Definitely. I hope so. You guys played them for a while.
Lux, you know, the human.
Not Lux. He was.
I'm just gonna quickly leave the call, come back in because my my Discord I think is frozen, but I will be back in like a hot sec.
Oh, good.
Cool.
Made us go to Perez, and you was the one that died.
Yeah, I know, it was karma. But I think Melville died as a consequence of that as well.
To be fair, I did play that encounter with Perez and all a little bit unfairly towards Namir. But I think justfully so.
Yeah, definitely justfully. It has this poetic karma to it.
Yeah, I think, but that was it. Like, it was like Namir couldn't be mad that he died there because he brought everyone there.
But yeah, that would be kind of.
So that was why, you know, the witch in the house just so happened to focus him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, to be fair,
I didn't even notice they were focusing him.
To be fair, I thought they were focusing you because you were doing the most damage. Because you was.
Yeah, because
You
you were
consistent.
attacking.
You were.
Yeah.
Like Callum was at one part of the swamp with you, quite far away from safety, and I think the other two were closer to safety, like the buildings and the non-swampy area. And I was just like, okay, guess I'll dash, inspire if I'm within 60 feet, great. And then almost because of the inspiration, you were hitting a bit more, and it was like, okay, you could do with a few more dashes here.
Nimmer was pretty determined at that moment, and he managed to kite it with his longbow for a good bit.
Yeah. You know what?
I think it also kind of boiled down to, although maybe it wasn't deliberate, but also I think Namir in his final, you know, life or lives, when he was, you know, going through like the form of a dwarf and the form of a tabaxi, I think there was definitely kind of like a, if not you as a player, like, noticing, but maybe as, like, from me as a DM, as a character thing, it was that, like, I got these people in this situation, I've got to get them out. Like,
No,
I fucked up.
That was me as a player. That wasn't the mirroring character. That was me as a player, definitely.
Yeah. But I think that kind of came across, because I think if Callum wasn't there, it would have been like, that's not very in character of you. But the fact, like, your own estranged brother was there and stuff, it was very much like a, oh shit, this isn't what I thought I was going to get into at all, though. You know, I need to fix this. We need to leave and go somewhere else. This isn't what I wanted. Like, that kind of, like... But it was definitely on the mirror in that moment, and I think that was nice.
The one thing I will remember from that fight, though, is... I'm not gonna... I do low-key regret it, because I feel like I didn't really play to my character at that point, was choosing to not attack the witch when she was, like, one hit. As the bear, I decided to not attack and drop my form and heal Max. I mean, if I didn't, Max was gonna die. Yeah. But I think realistically, I should have just killed the witch.
Also, during that combat, Lux, you were being like fucking Hamlet with a skull and a ruin for 3 rounds. So
yeah, no, I mean at the time it was like Max was down. Obviously, I was in the brown bear form, flying. I was a flying brown bear, and then it wasn't it? It was an option. It was help Max or let her run away. And I think when she ran away, she was.
I think like all it came down to at the end was me picking the wrong side of the dice when we rolled for the revivify, wasn't it?
I think the worst part was you survived it,
It's around a minute.
but you died to, was it Calling Hands?
Oh, yeah,
That's
because
how
no,
you
I died to a glyph of warding on a chest that lightning bolted me into 0 hit points, which
No, it didn't lightning ball you. It was a cloud kill or something spell that went off, and because it nearly killed it nearly killed all the werewolves as well.
No, it was the lightning spell. I remember that distinctly.
It wasn't lightning bolt because it affects everyone in like a 10-15 foot radius.
Oh, okay.
It might just be like a blast of lightning or something, or like lightning damage. It wasn't lightning bolt specifically because it also nearly fucking killed both werewolves.
Gotcha.
Because one werewolf did die, I think, off the back of it.
Mm-hmm. I just remember you saying like a flash of lightning befalls you as you open the chest.
Let me pull up Perez here, because that is by the book. Perez.
But maybe I remember it wrong. I don't know. But yeah.
The Runes of Perez.
Oh, I think my favorite one was the whole make a goat joke.
The giant goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the wooden chest in the hut is protected with a glyph of warding that requires a successful DC 17 investigation check to find. The glyph deals 5d8 thunder damage when triggered. Opening lid releases 4 crawling claws that fight until destroyed.
Mm-hmm. And that's how he died. Got strangled to death by a crawling hand.
I don't like that encounter, personally, because the glyph does 5d8 thunder damage, which would kill all the clawing crawls immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would. It would. Like, it just would. A crawling claw has 2 hit points. It does 5d8 thunder damage, they all die immediately. It's not a well thought out encounter. It's not a well thought out trap, it's a shit trap.
Isn't it like meant to be that it first happens, then they crawl out and scale? I don't know.
Yeah,
No. It's literally like the chest opens, the glyph of warding triggers, the thunder damage cracks out to everyone in the hut, including the claws.
Okay.
Because it's a glyph of warding, so the glyph deals 5d8 thunder damage when triggered, and a glyph of warding, whenever it is, I can check the radius of it. That would technically be an explosive rune, because then you pick, 5d8. It's a 20-foot radius sphere centered on the glyph. Spreads around corners. Each creature in the area makes a dex save, taking 5d8 acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage on a field saving throw, or half as much as a successful one.
Yeah, makes sense.
So all the claws instantly die. Because you open the chest, the glyph goes off, they get hit by it, it goes around corners, because the chest isn't closed. They should all be dead. So the claws are a pointless endeavor, but
And the thing is, it's an easy fix as well, because all you need to do is have a false bottom to the chest and have them crawl out from there, because
and the false bottom is broken by the thunder. Bam.
Yeah.
Obviously, though, I mean, it just says a wooden chest and the hut is protected by a glyph of warding, which could mean like the second someone touches it, or like you can play it however you want. I've seen it done a lot of different ways, but regardless, it's a silly encounter, and I think after just dealing with Babylon Saga and the hut, 4 crawling claws is just a pointless little shitty thing,
Weird.
It is weird, but I was playing this module as much to the book as I could, and I think that's kind of what I went to. I wanted to play it true to the module, and I think I said that when I started it. I was like, you guys will die, like this is going to be tough, but I'm going to play it by the module, and I did. I played it the module in Ravenloft for all of it bar the final fight, and in which case I only added Strahd's mythic actions.
Also there was the Draculage, wasn't there?
Yeah, true, Ogavost and all that shit, but that was...
Well, I think that's a much better addition than to, oh yeah, you go to Ravenloft, and then you leave, and then you go back.
Well, also, the 3rd gem isn't in the book.
Oh.
It's not there. It's deliberately omitted. You don't know where it is. You as the DM, don't know where it is.
So it's giving the players a bit of hope, but like, oh, if we get these 3, then it's like, nope.
It just straight up doesn't fucking exist. It's not in the book. It doesn't exist at all. So, like, it's very much like a false hope twist, but also more, I think it's more like a DM, where do you think it is?
True.
Like, I've seen people, like, have it par the Heart of Sorrow and stuff before, which is very interesting. But I thought the Heart of Sorrow alone is its own interesting encounter. I think it's really fun. the whole shaking tar, like, we need to get to that fucking heart and smash it. Like, I wish you took more ranged abilities, like, on that shit. Like, it's great.
You have no clue how happy I was to play a monk that session.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah.
Was the Winter Splinter, the Shrine and Wizard of Wine, was that book as well? Was that you?
Winter Splinter, the axe. Yeah, that's in the book.
No, I mean no. The it may not be called Winter Splinter. The giant.
Oh yeah. No, that is Winter Splinter. It also has an axe embedded in it. Sorry. That they destroy. If you guys do the Wizards of Wine and then do not immediately go to Yester Hill, if you go anywhere else, it destroys the winery. If you guys went straight there and did the encounter at Yester Hill, straight away, then it wouldn't have destroyed the winery. The winery would have been survived.
Thanks.
Technically, I went easy on you guys because it's supposed to kill everyone there. But I think it's bullshit because Winter Splinter doesn't have magical attacks.
It doesn't.
They're werewolves. They're immune.
And they can.
Oh, I suppose if they're in the winery when it's crushed, they're immune to non-magical attacks, but they're not immune to non-magical damage, like bludgeoning damage, crushing, fall, and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
So,
I'd imagine that they would, get away. Like, they are were-ravens who are in Barovia. Like, it just didn't. Like, the whole family are supposed to die. Like, Davian, his 2 sons, his daughter, and the 3 grandchildren, whatever, are all supposed to die. Like, no one gets out. They all die. You find them all dead.
It's kind of off.
Horrible. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think at that point, whenever it did happen, you guys are already kind of shitting. Like, I think the loss of the winery alone was enough. I didn't need to kill those NPCs.
Yeah. Plus, I really liked them. They were cool. I really like the were-ravens, like conceptual as well. I found them really interesting.
Yeah, it's why I liked it. You're like, I want to play a Kenku.
The Kenku, I'm not even like. Alright, Seeker character creation. Originally, he was either meant to be a Hexblade Warlock or a monk. And the Nimir's Death kind of caught me off guard, and it was a bit time ago before I started DMing and before I started making my own characters more often. Because at that point, I made like 3 characters? 4?
It was very early on in the server, because like
and
we only really started it the summer prior.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit!
This was also like Georgetown days.
Yep, that was the session before.
Also, though, shall we go back to Canon here because he didn't get to answer his one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Seeker still has a couple of spooky, scary moments. He said he had 3.
I have like, I mean, I could cut down to 1 for Nimir, 1 for Seeker. For Seeker, it was. But I already said when we went in Valaki to the coffin house, my Oshi moment was a bit before that when we found out, oh, Vasily von Holtz is Strahd.
Yeah. His alter ego.
Yeah, and tying into that when he turned the Council of Valaki against us, I was like, oh shit, oh no.
I'm so pleased about that. Vasily also isn't like a real character, like in a sense, like he's in the book. But he's not like he's supposed to be like from like centuries ago kind of thing. Like he's supposed to be like one of the Wachter's old squeezes. But yeah, I quite like the idea of gaslighting guys with Strahd as a nice nobleman.
Because like when you say he has a hallucination, oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, it's some noble who's ugly and he's just making himself look nice. Oh, never mind, it's fucking Strahd. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
I've seen people play it so fucking good as well. You guys think like that was bad. I've had people before be like, yeah, like a random road encounter, like you've just left Barovia, you just at the stairfalls, you just come to the road, there's a wagon broken down, a noble and his driver there, and like one of the wheels has fallen off. And it's like, oh please, could you help me I'm trying to go to Valaki to my home, and if you could help me out it'd be amazing. It's like, oh of course, yeah, we'll get the wheel on for you. And then like they all get on board like, Raiden, take us to Valaki, please. Of course, master. And then you all driven through the gates of Barovia, away from Ravenloft, down towards Valaki in the valley. And like, so what is your name? What's your business? It's like, oh, I'm Seeker. I'm like, I'm a monk, or the child. So who are you? Thank you for the lift, by the way. What's your name? I was like, oh, I'm Vasily von Holtz. It's so good to meet you. And like, he starts like hitting it off with like, he has like good banter for Irina. He like kind of gets on her side, like, and she's like, and she confides in the partner, and she's like, I think he's he's really charming, isn't he? He's very good. And like you let her gain chemistry for him, and then you trust her with him, and it's like, yeah, well, Irina likes him, so it's like, can you help us? Like we've got to go deal with this thing in Kresik. Irina needs somewhere safe to stay to be hidden from Strahd. Can like you look after her? Of course I can. Anything you need. And you leave her with Vasily von Holtz, and you come back, and it's like, and you're like, where's Vasily gone? And it's like, who is Vasily von Holtz? And everyone in Blacky's like, I don't know who the fuck that is. And Irina's gone. And it's like, it's so delicious.
Jesus.
Or even just that same encounter without the gaslighting shit, and it's just, what's your name, sir? It's like, oh, I'm Strahd. Strahd von Zarovich. And it's like my player is knowing the name of the module, like...
I saw that on D&D memes.
Man, it's amazing. It's so good.
It's like, yeah, and by the way, yeah, it's Strahd. And the first Oshi moment was with Nimir when he died and he met the Dark Powers. I was like,
That was my favorite bit, was like the whispers. Like taking you guys away, like giving you little tidbits of like what the fuck's going on and pushing you back. Because Callan never had any.
Yeah. Nimir had whispers, and he tried, being the selfish asshole he is, tried to act upon them as quickly as possible.
Because even Melville had whispers, but he rejected the powers.
Mm-hmm.
But Callan, I don't think ever directly experienced any DM whispers in the whole campaign. Nope. He got close to getting fucking knocked down and diddly squatted, but he just scraped the barrel every single time. But yeah, any other scary moments, Seeker, you had, or should we?
And with Seeker, it was the coffin house. Then it was meetings. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this fun insight check / performance check to get this noble off his game. Nat 20. Wait, hold the fuck up.
Yeah. In the when they were talking politics in Vallaki.
And he was like, buy spoons. Anyway. And what else? Definitely when we entered Ravenloft and you hear the drawbridge turning up. You're not leaving.
And the candles all blew out.
That had this nice ring to it. It's like, yep.
That's not just a thematic thing either. If you guys tried to leave, in the foyer, 8 gargoyles attack you if you try to leave. And then in the lobby, 4 red dragon wormlings attack you if you try to leave. All the statues come to life and jump on you as you try to fucking leave.
Red dragon wormlings are not that bad, but gargoyles.
They're almost outnumbering the... Like, if a couple get a drop on you and get an AoE on you.
So imagine that. So you're trying to leave. As soon as you step through those doors, 8 gargoyles animate and start chasing you out them. You're like, we need to get fuck out of here now. You start running, and then 4 red dragon wormlings animate and all hit you surprise round breath weapon attacks.
It would be.
And the doors are still locked. I picked the lock of my thieves' tools. Okay, that'll be your whole action while fire breath is going up your back. Like, welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah, Dimension Door, great. That's me and one other saved.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you get out there, and the drawbridge is still up. And they will chase. They will chase you until they are dead, or you are dead. Like, that's the thing when I was like, Ravenloft is the dungeon. Because you guys were like, we should just leave and recover and get a long rest. And I was like, yeah, sure, go for it. Try it. Leave Ravenloft. There's no measures there. Like, if you get the drawbridge down and run under it, there's a environmental hazard that falls on your head. What the fuck is it called?
The portcullis?
At the portcullis, yeah, there's a mold on the portcullis that falls down and attacks you if you try to leave.
What the fuck is?
Yeah, no, like legitimately.
There's precautions after precautions.
What the fuck is it called?
Creeping mold? Maybe.
Maybe.
But
there is
ocean scary moments for the most part. Like, this was a really good I really enjoyed the gothic horror. I think you nailed it really well. There were so many moments where I was genuinely like, oh no. I want my...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry, go.
I want an adult here. The fuck is happening?
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's pause. I think what really sealed it as gothic horror for me, and what really pulled it together like a rug, was the soundtrack. Travis Savoy
Oh yeah, Seventh
Like
Way,
that.
amazing soundtrack.
That's
They're
like-
releasing right now.
5 or 10 minutes before we even begin, and we're already in. Okay, this is the soundtrack to the topic of future therapy meetings. you
Yeah.
know?
The thing with soundtracks for me is that I have issues like concentrating and hearing people when I have music on. That's why when I do my sessions, when I Ravnica, when I do Strahd, I have the music turned off. I know it is slightly bad for immersion, but it helps me concentrate on the session.
That's it though.
especially-
It's not supposed to distract. It's supposed to enhance. So
it's-
if it's not for
from-
you, like it's why it's always very easy to mute. You can mute it yourself in Discord
that's
or
why-
on
I-
Roll20.
that's why I have it muted.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I'm
why.
just-
But like, if you listen to it like on your own time, just like as a soundtrack, it is. The compositions are gorgeous. I love everything he does, and I really want to just fucking just get a little contract on him and just take all his fucking stuff. I want to.
See, that's why, like, obviously, if we are fortunate to do another campaign, I'd love to do. Like, I wasn't the biggest pick of doing like Frost Maiden, but Travis Savoy has his own Frost Maiden soundtrack. And
He's
like,
also in Frost Maiden, Tomb of Annihilation. He's just done Into Avernus, and I think
oh wow.
I heard he was doing Dragon Heist. I'm not sure. I need to look. I want to send him our Ready City Crit T-shirt and maybe a Chris Strahd T-shirt as a thank you.
That's nice.
And then I'm gonna, berate him for letting me have all of his music and be like, just sign like a waiver and be like, I can use it forever. It's fine.
He's fucking great. He's really chill. He popped into the stream for a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He popped in the chat and like tuned in for a little bit and listened and watched and enjoyed it, and it's great. I think all of his tracks are incredible, and a lot of them are. They're all owned by him. They're not open source. But he can still give his licensing out no problem for now. But I imagine he will get snatched up eventually by someone.
Also, if he did do Descent to Avernus, is it like when I mentioned like a soundtrack for it, I imagine like Doom music from like Doom 2016, like.
Dude, he's done Descent into Avernus. It's done. It's finished.
I
I
know,
think.
yeah, that's how I imagine. That's how I imagine it be.
It's great.
So I know we've like talked about obviously what happens to our characters after, like we go to Eleanor if we wish, but this comes from obviously Vil, which is what do you think would actually happen afterwards? With like Lux staying, Seeker. I think Seeker stayed as well, didn't he?
No, Seeker. I wanted originally Seeker to stay, but when like Lux is staying and Max says
Seeker left.
Freeze too much.
Do you think the entity in hindsight would take over Max? Like, do you think there's like a way for? Do you think like Lux and Esmeralda would have to kill Max? In other words,
I think
because the whole point of what Delvanar wanted, wasn't it, was to kill Strahd, and we did that, and then obviously.
I think Delvanar would have given Max visions of finding a strange entity known as Vampire that like ruled Barovia. As itself, and Max would have taken Esmeralda and Lux to deal with this thing, and you guys would have destroyed Vampire, the Dark Power. It would have been destroyed and trapped back in Amber, back in the Amber Temple, fully, the full thing. Because whenever Strahd takes from it, I like to imagine he takes from it, and then whenever Strahd dies, a bit of it's let out in the world, because it's gone, it's out there now. He's not the vessel. But you guys would trap it back in that vessel of Amber and restore it to its prison, the Amber Temple, snow it all in. And then I think, around that point, Max would begin to get corrupted fully, and the mist would set back in. And you, Esmeralda and Max, would be, none really the wiser as to why or what's happening. And slowly but surely she tried to work out what the fuck was going on or what's happening. I think eventually Max's behaviors would change ever so slightly, and then it would be a very slow
Transformation.
build, and it would have been things like Strahd would try to kill Lux by quote unquote accident, or Esmeralda by accident, and just try to break his ties so he could flourish, that kind of thing. It wouldn't be like he is suddenly horribly evil and there he is, because because Max was a lawful good character who was turned chaotic evil. That is the definition of slow burn.
True.
I think after Strahd dies, Van Richten would be like, Barovia is cleansed, and he would leave. Esmeralda does stay to keep an eye, because Esmeralda's suspicious. She's like, I don't think we're done here, and like she wants to keep it going and wants to see what's going to happen next. So she does in the book stick around, and normally she sees the next rise of Strahd, and then that's how the module repeats itself, because she's already there. She's infiltrated the domain already. Van Richten comes back, he cements himself, he finds the old tar. Like the module can infinitely repeat in that sense.
Oh, so I forgot you mentioned, wasn't it? The whole point is like when you kill Strahd, he's not dead. Like,
Yeah, he comes back.
Yes.
Does he even come back even if you would stake him in the coffin?
Yep. That's the thing I didn't like about it. No matter what you do to Strahd, vanilla. You can kill him, you can turn him to ash and take all the ash with you. No matter what you do in a certain number of months, it goes epilogue, Strahd dies. In here it is. So I'll read you out the aftermath, and I'll read it out like the full thing, the full whack. So, the bats, wolves, and dire wolves of Barovia lose their supernatural link to Strahd upon his destruction, and become ordinary beasts, destined to be hunted down or driven to the farthest reaches of the Slavish woods. Even after Strahd's death, Castle Ravenloft remains a haunted place, shunned by all Barovians. Its dark immensity and threatening countenance are enough to deter locals from plundering or reoccupying it. The rise of Ismark. If he survives the adventure, Ismark Kolyanovich becomes Burgomaster of the village of Barovia. He is grateful to the characters for all they have accomplished and urges them to stay in Barovia and help him rid the land of its other threats, offering his village as a safe haven. Effectively, it's like an after credits, like, you didn't do this area, complete this next. Vistani Exodus. Fearing the Barovians might kill them for their being spies and collaborators, the Vistani pack up their wagons and leave the valley with great haste. The Barovians are happy to see them go. Vampire Hunters. If he is still alive, Rudolf van Richten leaves Barovia to live out his remaining days in solitude. His protege, Esmeralda d'Avenir, isn't convinced Strahd is truly dead. She also knows there are other evils in Barovia to be conquered, so she elects to remain in the valley. Consorts Unleashed. Upon his death, Strahd's vampire spawn are freed from his control, and each seek a new destiny. Escher in particular, who you guys all killed in cold blood, leaves the realm in search of new experiences and a way to become a vampire lord himself. If Petrina Velikova lives, she begins to plunder arcane knowledge from Castle Ravenloft and the Amber Temple and prepares to become Barovia's new master. And finally, Strahd's return. Esmeralda's suspicion proves justified. Strahd's destruction is merely temporary, for his curse can't so easily be ended. The ancient dark powers with which Strahd forged his pact caused the vampire to reform at the period of months, long enough for the Barovians to discover what it's like to live a life of hope and freedom. When Strahd is reborn, the mists surround the land of Barovia once more, and the Barovians' hope turns into horrible, worse despair than it ever was. Strahd remembers the defeat dealt with him, and begins plotting his revenge. After the mists reappear, Madame Eva and her Vistani come back to the valley, the beasts of the lands once more fall under Strahd's spell, and the burgomasters fortify their settlements, hoping, against all hope, that someone can save them from Strahd again. It is a beautiful concept, and it leans into that very much like, what's the name of the fucking book? Like the Inspector Calls kind of vibe, you know, where like the story repeats itself forever until like the perfect ending is found and all that whole vibe. And Buddhism and like that whole fucking shtick. But like, if this was a long running campaign, if I was like, okay, these characters are going to jump straight in the fucking Tomb of Annihilation, I wouldn't have given you guys the perfect, like, yeah, we can like resurrect him and then kill him for good. I would like, yeah, of course, you kill him, you leave, cool. And then after a few months of exploring, like Schult or whatever, yeah, Max begins to like have dreams of Barovia, and suddenly mists fell upon you, and Max is gone in the night, and you only need to find a shadow crossing to get back to Barovia to save Max from becoming like, you know, Strahd's new protege, because all of fucking like vampire spawner gone. He's got stuff from scratch and he hates you all. Like, like there's so much you can.
It's a good plot hook.
Yeah, but it's good if you're doing like a longer running series of campaigns.
I mean,
I don't think these characters after that kind of lend themselves to.
Nah. I would really appreciate experiencing something like that one day. Because like one shot's there forever, and this is extremely good, and I love this as well.
I think if I was going to do a one shot again, I'd love to like look at Seeker's kind of like past and kind of like throw us back to Seeker's small group and do like a Strahd von Zarmich Must Die Tonight with Seeker's party and like see how that night would have played out. Like they rock up at the castle with nothing. And they gotta find all the gear, they gotta destroy the Heart of Sorrow, they gotta find Strahd, kill Strahd, like...
Seeker's original party consisted of him, Mikhail the monk, then there was an Aasimar, there was a cleric, a sorcerer, and a barbarian or fighter, one of the two. There was
a barbarian dwarf, I think.
Nothing a dwarf, a human, something like that, not sure. It was a long time ago.
As I say, how much prep went into that backstory?
Into
setup
Seeker,
for Seeker?
That was all Seekers. I didn't write any of it.
Yeah, that was.
I just told him, I was like, Seeker has done this before.
Mm-hmm. He basically told me he was a part of a. I think you put it. He was part of a other adventuring party that got killed by Strahd. He was the only one who survived by running.
I said that Strahd let you live to like toy with you, basically. And then, Seeker was like, that was like 20, 30 years ago. Like, Seeker couldn't even remember.
And that's also why he doesn't refer to him with his name. He used to be named Mikhail.
Yeah.
That was his name. And after that, basically the psychological thing and...
and he referred to Callan and Max by the wrong name and stuff a couple of times.
Yes, I kind of let off with that after a while because I was still new to role-playing... a lot heavy role playing at the time, and I just forgot about it, and I felt weird to bring it back.
I would like to think that as well. Like, it sounds a bit silly, but even though what our characters went through, I still wouldn't classify it like a group as like close in that kind of sense.
No,
so, like after we escaped,
we had connections, but
yeah, I feel like even after we escaped the mist and we all left, I don't think we would have stayed as a group. So if we had to go back to Barovia, that would be very like kind of like I remember this kind of. It'd be like a really like awful kind of flashback almost to be about to return because it's just like
like you literally found Seeker in Argentvost just chilling in one of.
How long have you been here? 30 years or whatever it was.
But he didn't know.
He I think he's like a long time. That's about it.
Yeah, Seeker knew it was at least a couple of decades, but he didn't know exactly.
Like he kind of like went into he became like a hermit, just roamed the forests and the abandoned buildings for like 30 years.
Bouncing town to town, living in the wilderness, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure
what else can you do.
Seeker. I think it was originally meant to be he seeks revenge, but that felt a bit edgy and I'm not. But I think I kept it. It felt nice, like the name itself, Seeker.
See, I think after like if I had Lux would stay and stuff, I think. His actual second objective would actually be to restore the Lich. Sounds silly, but I think because Lux got on with the Lich, so I think that's what I think he would try to do.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, very easily done, Lux. You tell him his name.
Oh.
A what?
Huh?
Oh, is that literally it?
If you guys tell the Lich his name, he remembers everything.
Oh,
no way! It's on the book, isn't it?
Yeah, but he doesn't know his name.
Oh, if we'd have said it in passing, would it have worked? Like, we found... Is it Exodanta?
Yeah. I think you have to remind him his name.
Hey, Exodanta.
No,
didn't he tell us his name, though?
No, he doesn't know it.
Nope.
I
think we knew out of character. But...
He took the deal given to him by one of the greater dark powers. Yeah, you have to restore him with a greater restoration spell, or I'd put in a homebrew, or you could just tell Lich's name, because he'd basically purged his own memory, because the entity he makes a deal with is like fucking like like if you think Strahd is bad or the one that Max made is bad, the Lich's one is like the fucking worst one ever. It's like everyone you know in the name of like you like trap in your fucking phylactery forever and like you suck on their scythe and they all die and it's like but you have to know who you are and your story and stuff to even get there. It's a very complicated one, his story. But yeah, he did it to himself, and then that's why yeah, Kanaloff checks in on him. His friend. He's like, oh, have you met my friend?
That's
nice. I can't remember what the fucking name of the Kanaloff was. That's taken heavily from Mandy Mod, which is like a slight twist on the story. But Mandy Mod is a very good add-on. I'd highly recommend it for anyone playing Strahd.
I'll keep it in mind. Because I think Strahd has like a massive ton of like really cool and deep characters, and we didn't even scratch the surface of some of them. Like the Lich.
That's what Mandy Mod does. Like Strahd as a whole is like it's obviously it's a book, you know, it's only what 250, 300 pages long. But like Mandy Mod goes like again another 250 odd pages of content deep into everything.
Gotcha.
It's like really siphons it out and it's like things like the Druidic stones at the windmill and like, you know, at Perez and at Yester Hill. It's like, what do these 3 stone circles mean? What do they represent? What are they from? In the book, it's like, there were 3 stone circles. These are the locations. They're from like old times. And then Mandy Mod's like, this is one of life, and this is one of death, and this is one of like purity or whatever. Like, you know, and that kind of it pulls a lot more interesting twists and turns.
It's basically a world building add-on.
Exactly, and it's beautifully written and very, very smart, and it changes some things that are kind of shit and makes them more fun.
Does it remove the Death House?
No, but I removed it because it's shit. I think it probably like rehauls Death House to make it enjoyable, but I've run it before. It took 6 hours. It was the worst 6 hours of my life. I'll never get it back.
It's like a very bad dungeon where you die.
Yeah.
Is it like a shambling mold at the top as well, or 2, something like that?
Yeah, shambling mold to the bottom. That's it. For no reason. It's not tied. It doesn't. It's like a cult who like sacrifice people to an entity for I don't know. Well, just because they do. That's what they do. They sacrifice things to an entity, and the entity is a shambling mold, and that's it. That's the reasoning is it's just a shambling mold, I guess, and that's it.
Shambling molds are cool, you know.
So I think Dimension 20 did something like that, didn't they? They did like the Maya or something. They were like these plant, you know, they're like there's like this, you know, these plants or something like these entities.
So the Maya I've only seen done by High Rollers.
Oh, sorry, that's it, High Rollers, sorry.
And they're twins, but they are the land.
Yeah, no, that's it.
So they're both not undead. They're actually both tieflings, statistically. But yeah, they're the Mire. And the whole thing is that like a symbiotic hive mind of like bugs and undergrowth and like all that shit. And they are the land. And Strahd has corrupted the land, and they want to reclaim the land of Barovia from them again.
That's really cool.
I preferred the Mire to the Dragonborn pair who the characters in that arc originally played, because I think that Zeki and Zeros were both shit characters. Come at me.
I can't judge
because they died in the Winter Splinter part, didn't they?
Well, that's it. It wasn't their fault that they both died, but they were. I just think that they weren't. One was very edgelord, and one was like almost too pure and too good, and also it was like the first kind of big campaign that player had ever played, and wasn't really aware of what the fuck was going on.
So they were like two bad extremes.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole they didn't fit with the rest of the party, and like it's that whole vibe. You know, you got to find like characters that work with the group and like, you know, enhance. You don't want everyone. You guys had a really nice group of points because it was like you were there and you were fighting with each other, but it wasn't like you were like pulling the group apart. It was like you were fighting with each other, but the group was just getting more and more engrossed into like this fucking ball of nightmare. Some sessions I didn't do anything. I was like, you guys should are in your bedrooms. What do you want to do? And it's like, Max, you can't fucking take that shield. It's like, I want to take the shield. And it's like, you can't take it. It's corrupted by this thing. And like, tell him, Lux. Like, come on, Max, you probably shouldn't take the shield. Max is like, maybe you're right, Lux, I probably shouldn't. And it was that nice kind of like very around the table, like, storytelling, as opposed to like, you can't take the shield. I want the shield. Well, tough shit. I'm saying you can't fucking take it. It's like, well, it's my choice. I'm taking the shield. You're not fucking having it. Tell me you're not having it. I'm not. He's not having it. You're not fucking having it. Well, I want it. Well, you're not having it. Like that kind of like that doesn't get anywhere. But like that kind of like real morphing around and finding compromises and like we should go here next because this is important to me, or we should go here next because this means a lot to like this character who we're with.
Here's a question: could Lux ever convinced I can't remember his name now, the little Quasette, to be like bit side with us?
In the Amber Temple.
Yeah, and what items did that fucking guy have? Because he had a magical staff, and I wanted that so bad.
While I pull it up, how about Callan tells us his the biggest scary moment, if he hasn't already kind of mentioned it.
I think I mentioned it when I realised that potentially I've doomed all of Vallaki, which was the one place that we thought we found some kind of resolve, because he just rushed in like, yeah, it's the devil, and then it's like, yeah, should have seen that one coming. But yeah, I think like understanding that there were a lot of consequences to what we were doing, and some of it was, just what was going to happen anyway. Some of it was accelerated by us, but some of it was specifically propagated by us, and that was the scary part.
I think what's funny is you guys being upset and worried about Vasily von Holtz and Strahd being on the Council of Vallaki being a big deal. Whereas, like, if you look at Strahd from, like, a political point of view, he's a count or a baron or a king or whatever title you want to give him. He rules a valley, a province of land. He has wealth that he claims from them. He's undead, so he probably doesn't have to, claim, money anymore, or grain or cattle or anything like that. But he still needs to claim blood and things. Like, he needs things to survive, and also he needs money to like regulate the economy, fix the roads, like care for what's going on down there, to pay his burgermeisters with the tax and stuff. He regulates all that. Like, that's a beautiful thing. You guys are like, Vallaki's under Strahd's control. It's like, Vallaki was always under Strahd's control. The whole valley was.
Yeah, I think
like that's a beautiful bit. Like it was always you went to Kresik like, oh, it's so nice here. Strahd can't touch us here. It's like, yeah, who do you think's paying the fucking wage of that burgermeister who you're dealing with?
Okay, that's
he takes taxes, he pays himself, but who lets him?
So, quick question. So he also like manages the roads after in Barovia, stuff like that?
I mean, it's his lands. It's all it's all under his control.
That's really good.
Bear in mind that like road upkeep isn't what it is like in real life, where you need re-tarmacking and repairs for pipe work and stuff like that. Because and obviously there's a lot of seasonal stuff with when snow comes and the ice and all that grounds up the roads. Because a lot of them will be, when we say road, we mean a flattish area that's clear of vegetation. Roughly, when we're traveling on the road.
Sometimes you'll get like a cobbled area, or the Slavish road is like partially cobbled at points, but most of it is the muddy trail that the leaves are cut back from. But that kind of happens in passing. Like it's like that whole vibe. Like at the end of the day, Strahd is like, oh, a tree has fallen in between Vallaki and Kresik. That's no good. What if I need to get to Kresik in a rush? Because someone's got arena there. I will clear the road. Since werewolves that clear the road's clear now.
How do seasons work in Barovia? Like fall, summer?
It's not touched on in the book. I place it in a internal state of kind of like the start of autumn. Just before summer has ended, the bitter cold and winds are setting in. It's horrible and bleak and chilly, but the leaves are still clinging to the trees, just about.
You know what?
If I wasn't running it in autumn, I'd run it in winter, in pure snow and ice and horrible, and I'd make you be fucking extreme cold checks and like ruin your fucking day.
So, I want to say I can't go for too much longer, as I again got school tomorrow. So I can go like for 30 more minutes, 20 more minutes.
Yeah, so when we're chatting anyway, so just kind of like seeing everyone out. I can go through a few more questions, just like to rhyme through. balance-wise, did you guys feel it was a good balance of like role-playing and combat? Would you like to see like more or less of one or the other? Like, I don't know, something matter like personal preference, but like, and the personal, like the perfect balance for you might be completely different from someone else. So like, there's no right or wrong answer there. But like, you know, overall, was it like a good amount, or was it like, oh, there's way too much talking, or?
I think I like talking, and there was a lot of that. So
yeah, I think we knew that this was going to be essentially a role-play heavy campaign. Depending on how we want it, you know, we could just seek out the next combat and just hack and slash our way through the place. We'd all need 3 extra characters if we did that.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the reason why I was a bard. You know, the whole point of it was we're going to need somebody in this role-play scenario. Yeah, in combat I'm going to be a bit of utility, but I can be the face. And I think for me, there were some sessions where I was like, okay, it's been a lot of role-play. Kind of want to stab something. But also, no, because I think that would have felt cheap, you know, just to not have that mix and to not have that period of time, particularly when we were in Vallaki, where we didn't really have much of that. And when we did, it tended not to end well for us, so it was fine. But yeah, I looking back, I wouldn't have changed the mix of it. I wouldn't have changed.
I feel like you gave everyone a chance, like if that makes sense. Like you did dedicate, I think, your time well, for each character. When it comes to parts when we want to do things, you let us have, like, for example, when Melville went to try and investigate the Burgermaster and Spider Form and etc. You know, you gave me my time.
That kind of leads to my next question. I was going to ask about pacing. Like, did you feel like my pacing for the session was good? Was it too slow, too fast? Like, do you feel like my time was divided, like, more or less fairly between all the players? Like, did anyone get, like, the time in the spotlight more than anyone else?
Like, I really appreciate, like, for instance, you went along with Nimir's plan to accidentally get himself killed. I really appreciated that. Like, you know, like, yeah. I want to do something. Yeah, sure, go for it. Consequences. Yeah, fuck yeah.
It does lead to, like, one of my fond memories, actually, was when Melville was bullshitting the Burgermaster, you know, when I cast Light. And I was like, oh, this can detect magic and stuff. And you just flipped that straight away, didn't you? How, like, when Rickton was upstairs, and I was just like, I always remember that. I was like, oh, look, the light, it's going off. Like, something's bad here. And they're like, no, I'll get Isaac, because, like, oh no. And then you actually flipped it. And someone was there, like, oh no, what did I just do?
Yeah, I was like, someone's upstairs? Who would be upstairs in Vallaki right now? Van Richten sniffing around, yeah, that's about right. Yeah, well, I'll throw him up there, why not?
I thought I was being so smart with using that light country. I was like, oh, we can get away with this. And I was like, oh, we can do something here. And he's like, nope. you was like, shut that down real quick.
I also really like...
But that would have been a much more boring encounter if you went upstairs and there was no one up there and Isaac was like, get out of my fucking bedroom and like...
True.
That was a great moment. Like, I think, like, for an on-the-fly DM, I'm very proud of that moment of, like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking throw Van Richt upstairs, like, sniffing around, you guys are like, fuck him over, like, here's another, like, you know, reason for him to come back and talk to you and stuff.
I'm so sad we killed Isaac. I found him really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's an interesting character in a lot of ways. I enhanced his original story a lot. Things like Bluto being the town drunk because of what he saw was me. Isaac, you know, being Irina's brother is in the book, and that's kind of like the core. Like, there's a relation there of some kind. Like, he's plagued by her and his thoughts and stuff, but, like, how they get separated, again, it's up to the DM, or it's not even touched on. It's not, like, a known thing.
I really like Strahd because, like, it gives the DM, or how you describe it, gives the DM a lot of freedom as well as concrete points to jump off from.
See, that's why Strahd is a good module, because it's not just like, here is a module, we've written it roughly, you guys can fill in the blanks. It's like, here is the module, here's like the fucking core of what must actually happen, and if you deviate from this, you're a fucking moron. Also, here's some like little tidbits you can like throw in yourself, or whatever. It's like,
it also gives you replayability, and each DM gives its own spin.
Yeah, and also cards and all. There's so much. That's the thing about it. It's like the tarot deck. Like, you could do it live. You could do if you had a fucking amazing DM, great improv, you could run Curse of Strahd like one shot live. Bam, bam, bam. Here's my fucking 5 cards. Let's go right now. Let's do it. And like, I don't think I could do that. Like, I don't. It sounds like a lot of stress, a lot of work. Like, I could wing it, and it would be bare bones and shit. But I could get you through it, kind of thing. But I think that's not the point of it. It's supposed to be that slow burn, that kind of like enjoyment and all.
I think I'm really happy we got Esmeralda though. I feel like for some reason I felt it felt like it really complimented the party. Esmeralda, I feel like I think she was something we needed in the party.
She was my like
DM NPC.
My golden goose. I was gonna say, like she was the main story element you didn't know was coming until you had it, and you're like, this is the main plot line now. You're like, Esmeralda, she knows what's going on, we can go with her and she'll guide us correctly. Because until that point, you guys were like, yeah, there's a vampire lord in this valley, what the fuck's going on there? That's kind of weird, we need to kill him and leave. And then you got Esmeralda and it's like, okay, so she's got a plan of like, what to do and like ideas and stuff. Like, she's not just like, whatever you guys want to fucking do, I guess, because that's the point of the ally.
She was like our foundation almost though, because she was the way how we got around the place, and you know, she gave us, you know, a clear thought because she had all the information as well. So she kind of fed us. She gave us the eyes on what the land is really like. So she's been there for like way longer than we was.
If I was playing it again, I'd want to do her again, like as an NPC, because she's very, very fun to play and enjoyable. And also because the other NPCs you can get, like as your favorite ally, are things like the girl you save from drowning, the commoner girl, Arabelle, who offers no mechanical benefits at all. Or Mordenkainen. Good luck finding Greater Restoration in Barovia, it doesn't exist. Let's hope we get a cleric to level like 9 or whatever. Like,
or bards to take it.
Because I gave you guys that scroll for Lux's like, you know, personal arc. Like Van Richten doesn't have one of those. He can't cast that spell. I gave it to Rapid Lux's arc because I know if I didn't give it to you, it would have become like, we have to go to the Amber Temple and find this fucking scroll, and it would be its own whole fucking 7-episode tangent of fixing Mordenkainen for someone who's been like, fuck you guys, I'm about to find a fucking book, go fuck yourselves, out of here, bye bye bitches. Like, that was it. He didn't care about you guys. He didn't give a fuck. He never did.
Yeah, I think that was another thing. Like when Melville died, I was really trying to think. I was like, what do we need? I was like, because I know you suggested like you was like we should do a wizard. You know, you got this book. You should really do a wizard. But I was like, so I just don't think that's what we needed then. I always felt like we needed a healer. That's why I tried to go for like a.
So, question to not the DM, I guess.
Yeah.
If we'd have had an like if you'd have had to make a new character, if there'd been a heart, not quite a TPK, but you know, if Secret had died or if Lux had died, what do you think you'd have done in terms of your character? Would you have tried to find another hook to get him in? Because my thought was get somebody from Barovia who is trying to fight some kind of resistance, like a native.
You mean like if a third character died or failed the dark powers and like couldn't, like, I'd have to bring a new character fresh into the party.
Yeah.
It would depend where you were. Because if you'd found Esmeralda already, I would have given you Esmeralda as a PC.
Fair.
Because you already had your ally, it would make a lot of sense. Like, she would step up and, like, she becomes a little more powerful because she has to be. Like, she like takes risks and things a lot more because she has to, because there's not that safety support. Or any NPC who you're with, I think that would make sense to give the favorite ally to that player.
I think for me, I probably would have done the original idea me and Hannah had, and I probably would have gone like the Vistani route, and I would have made like a Vistani character. I don't know what kind of class it would be. That would have to be like a
bard or something along those lines. Yeah, roguish like bard, maybe a ranger. Like or Vistani. Like a Vistani who's like, I've been under Strahd's thumb for so long, I need to leave. Like, that's it. There are so many characters. I've seen someone do like a werewolf, like a recently turned werewolf. Like, I'm struggling with lycanthropy. Help me.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, I don't want to be a werewolf. Help me. Like, and they have the Blood Hunter lycanthropy subclass. So they use it, like, in combat. Like, it's part of their character. Like, it's part of their class. And then, if they ever get cured of lycanthropy, like someone casts, like, Remove Curse or Greater Restoration, then you hot flip them to, like, a paladin or something, and suddenly they're, like, holy and powerful and all that shit. Like, there's so much
It's cool.
I had so many ideas of how I could bring more, because originally I was like, yeah, fuck, these 4 characters you guys bring in, they're not going to be, like, any of them are going to live. It's a miracle that, like, Max and Callum made it. And it's why I did the Dark Powers deal with Darvelnar. If I was to change anything going back now...
I think you'd change that, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't change it. I would change it in a way, because I wouldn't have leaned into Darvelnar's ability as hard as I did. Because whenever I had to, on the fly, resurrect Namir, because I was like, fuck, I just fucking, like, killed a character, and that shit. And I was like, hey, the Dark Powers make a deal, you come back. I would have done it once. The Dark Powers make a deal with you, a cost, you don't know. You come back. As you are. Everybody gets one. That would be it. And if you die again, then it's like, it's not the Dark Powers, it's like, you wake up in Castle Ravenloft, and Strahd is there. And I would never want to change a character's race or class, because, I mean, look at Max's character, it was horrible. I felt terrible, like, here's all this plate mail and all this fucking, like, these are in the module, like, this plate mail and this fucking 200 greatsword that he would have fucking loved as a Leonin, and it's like, you're a halfling now, haha, that's funny, isn't it? Okay, moving on. Like,
to be fair,
you could have killed him.
He had an option to re-roll technically if he was gonna.
But, yeah, but whenever it's one of those technically, but you'd have had to do something in character that wouldn't have made any sense.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think he really managed to put it into his character really well.
Yeah.
I think Max as a halfling was, like, although I felt bad as a DM for putting him in that situation, I think it made Max as a character more interesting as a character.
True.
Yes, I agree. Because I think that also kind of leaned into his descent into chaos of, you know, I am not able to do what I want to do in the way that I want to do it, apart from on these, you know, few occasions a day or few occasions per rest, but I'm still going to try. You know, I'm still going to do all this stuff.
I think the whole... Oh, there you go.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it was the whole point with, like, Max. You know, Max was this, like, proud, strong, like, Leonin, and now he's just like this halfling. He can't wear his armor he once had. Can't wield his swords. He used to use. And it's just
the
like,
exact same voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the best bit about it. This tiny little halfling, like, hello there, it's me, Max. Like, excuse me?
Also, Nimir got really lucky on his roll on the reincarnation table. He got half elf again.
Well, no, you didn't. I said I rolled it for you. That's because I was on the fly, improvising what the fuck to do. And then after that session, I looked into, like, what dark power can bring people back, and I was like, it's either the True Resurrection one, who I want to save for my Strahd, like, Vomp, or it's Darvelnar, who can do the reincarnate, and that's fun and random. And it's like, sure, you got 2 more tries to that. Why not? That'd be fun.
Is that so? Was the whole Devil Now thing? Is that like, was it the whole free life things that you're kind of like?
So that's in the book, but you have to go touch the amber in the Amber Temple and be like, give me your dark gift, Davilnar. And you can get, everyone can get it, theoretically. I think if I'm doing it again, I'd only ever do 1 dark power, and then they're spent for like a century or whatever the fuck.
I really wonder what would happen if a character took all dark powers.
Chaotic Evil, immediately, because they will never be able to roll above 15 every single time. Like, 50 times. It's, like, impossible. It's not impossible, it's like a 0.5% chance they will not turn Chaotic Evil. And if they took all of them, then they are taking Vampire, they're taking the Corpse Star Zudan, and they're taking the one that Xantar took as well, the Lich one. So they take the upper powers, and then they become an NPC on the upstream. Once the fulfillment is met.
It'd be a bit like getting a bus and getting 1 hooligan from each of the most notorious, like, footy teams from across Europe in together. Because it's like, okay, we're all in here. We all.
Gonna grab another beer, but I can hear you guys. Keep talking.
Massive rivals with each other. What the hell are we even doing here? Like,
I just,
just 1 more gets added to the pile, and it's like, yeah, no, you're gonna be back at the queue, mate.
I just found it like a funny idea. It's like, yeah, I'll take this.
Yeah, like Oprah. It's like, I'll have you, and I'll have you, and you, and yeah.
now I'm dead.
Yeah. But I can understand the kind of losing control bit, because, you know, with that amount of power and corruption in your head, are you even able to make any
I mean,
decisions?
to be fair,
I don't think I would ever do you can only ever have one dark power at once. Because that feels really cheap. I think that, like, you know, you can have as many as you want. Go wild. Like, that was it. There was no limit. Like, yeah, you want them? Yeah, go for it.
When
have
I
some more.
Max it out.
When I was like making locks, I was very like kind of questioning it almost. But what kind of sold it for me was, you know, at the bottom of the winery when 2 people got downed instantly. Do you remember? And then that's when
with the ambush.
Yeah, the ambush.
When they thunder whipped you through the wine bottles.
Yeah, and I think it was me and someone else alive, but I managed to heal 2 people in 1 round, obviously, because Celestial Warlock, and I was like, oh wait, I think this is a good choice. I think that at that moment I was like, okay, I think this was the right choice to make, it's like a character.
It was Max and Seeker both went down, I think.
I think it was.
Or Max and Callum, maybe?
Yeah. No, I think Callan was still up with...
I think Callum was behind. I think it was Seeker and Max both went down. One got Thunder Waved, and the other got Thunder Waved, like almost like at the same time.
Yeah, because I got a terrible initiative roll for like the one time in the campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, because Callum was like, don't worry about it, I'll get Max back up. And then, like, Lux went down, he was like, everyone lives!
Everybody lives. Just this once.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I'll touch on those moments because like spells and stuff and those interaction stuff. I just because I'm gonna gotta get through all my little points and then begin to round it off like because obviously Bill's put a few questions in chat and stuff. No one else does, but you're gonna ride off with those. And then anything else you guys have like outstanding because we can always come back and do this again. But I know that I'm just mindful of time. But from a rules point of view, were there any times in which you felt that I handled a ruling of any sort so poorly, like it bothered you a lot, like for my own misunderstanding or just like our own collective misunderstanding of like, oh, I didn't know how the spell worked, like, and then I handled it poorly. And do you feel like I was more or less consistent how I handled like unexpected rulings, in regards to like the environment or like I want to try doing this, like did I shoot you down too much or was I lenient enough, like? Because I feel like I'm quite a strict DM, like it's not the fucking rules, so go fuck yourself, like a lot of time, but like.
You're strict, but it usually makes sense to use the rules. There's a reason we have them, and it usually like makes sense in context.
And I think, when you did get the rules wrong, you did rely on, you talked to us, you asked us if we knew, and then like, you responded, I think correctly to it. You asked us if it's the right thing, and then we told you, and then it was one of those things where like, oh, okay, we'll keep that in mind for next time.
I'm always happy to prove wrong. That's my rule.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to prove wrong. I'll tell you the rule how I think it is, but like if you can prove it wrong to me, it's like, perfect, you're right. That's how the rule's supposed to go. Let's do that.
Because like, I'm from your school of DM. It's like it's lawful evil. It's not players versus DM, but it's we are telling a story and we are wanting different things, or rather, the DM's wanting a good story and wanting that conflict, and the players want to overcome it. I think one great example of the quote unquote wrong call that turned into a good call, like good DMing call, was the Missy Step that got counterspelled when we encountered Strahd, or rather the Simulacrum. And then it was like, okay, that shouldn't have happened. I spotted it too late because I'm a rules lawyer, but I'm also a bit thick sometimes when I really get into it. But then, between sessions, it was like, right, have that slot back. The same kind of thing would have happened. Are we all happy with that? Yeah. And that is what DMing's all about. Is okay, we've stuck by it as much as we can. We've realised this in the moment. We don't want to just retcon because that'll ruin the story, and that's what we're here about. We're here for the story.
It made the most sense because regardless, Strahd would have like pulled off what he did, Misty Step or not. Like, well, Strahd, no Strahd. Also, not in the book, but also a great addition because fuck you guys, that was so good.
You love that. As soon as we got him to 0, I was very intent. I moved off the battle map and onto your fucking face, and you were like the cat that just got the cream, and I'm like, no.
I was gonna originally do it as like a projected illusion, but I was like, it'll get caught too quickly of Lux because he's like, I detect magic all of the time. So I was like, I need to get them in combat with something that can actually fucking fight back. And I was like, a simulacrum. Perfect.
Yeah.
And just gonna keep rolling here. Is there any other rules for you guys, like, or any rulings that kind of fucked up? Just because I'm gonna try to wrap this up. So
nothing that I can really think of. Like, yeah.
Cool.
There was the question of the night hags getting into the tiny hut, which I think we were both unclear of beforehand.
Yes,
And
now
then-
I'm aware. So with Tiny Hut, although it doesn't explicitly say that it enters the ethereal plane, unlike, other spells that do state that, like Wall of Force and other abilities, Force does project into the ethereal plane. It's just not very well ruled on and clarified, and that's why we need 5th edition 0.5, which will come out, in a couple of years, to like clarify all that fucking bullshit.
But like,
realistically, at that
bear in
point,
mind-
I think it would have happened eventually, because the Night Hags would have just followed you in the ethereal plane. If not that night, they would have done it at another night whenever you guys bedded down and been already in the hut. Like, it's not unreasonable to think.
You could have quite easily landed it while I was 9 minutes into the ritual casting.
Yeah.
Like when our guards were down. But I think, like, even now knowing the rule and knowing how it played out, I'm certainly not mad about how it was, because we know about the ethereal plane and how that works on the material plane. This isn't quite the material plane, so I could completely understand if it was a bit different, particularly if they were native to this in no ways. Like it's not
to
like
be
the
honest,
whole getting through the floor, which you can't do. But yeah.
As like, from a DS perspective, like, yes, it was not correct in the sense of the rules, but like, on the whole, like, it made the most of all the times when the fucking rock up and foot goes over. It's like, this place you've already long rested once before, we'll catch you there because you've done it once and you'll do it again.
Yeah.
Because whenever you first met Seeker, you're like, let's bed down and take a rest.
It does remind me though, like we technically shouldn't have survived that. I remember we all died in that fight. Well, no, not that fight. The Revenant fight. The fight before that.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was the
yeah.
TPK. That was the TPK.
Yeah.
Apart from Callan, who rolled a 920 on death
No,
saves.
but he still got down though, didn't he?
I got
Yeah,
down. I was
yeah.
on my second death save. I rolled a 20.
Callan,
And then-
if I played it like play by play, Callan would have woken up and then just got knocked unconscious again, probably.
Yeah.
Like,
I had
by
like
the 3 Revenants around you all who were on like half health or more.
Yeah.
I had like 1 second level spell slot, and that was it.
I think the reason why
See,
it's,
That's why I prefer handling TPKs. I don't like, the whole fucking... Like, but the thing is, the Revenants, they had no ambition to help you guys. Like, Callum woke up and was like, can I please heal my friends? Because, like, they're dying. And it's like, you had to plead to Hornaver for that, I think. And he was like, let him heal his friends. They may be used to us. And you, like, stabilized them.
Yeah.
wasn't it? That was just when we came back from the fight, wasn't it?
From Berez. Yeah, you did
we were-
Berez and Organvoss back to back.
I think that's the reason why
With
we
no short rest.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why we like almost died, wasn't it? Because
Oh, yeah.
like, we had like no spell slots. We had no spell slots. And it was just
And
like,
HP.
And ghosts and revenants all over
Yeah.
and all the fucking rest. Yeah, it was horrible, dude. Organvoss is its own thing. But you were like, there might be armor up there. It's a mansion on a hill. Let's go check it out.
I remember Pacific Melville was like, I don't want to go up there. I was like, I do not want to go out there. They were
I
like,
gave you guys a
Perfect.
vision of like a foggy dragon attacking you from there. We're like, let's go there.
Well, it was
It's like,
like, I think you said it
okay.
was like a silver dragon or something like that
yeah.
was leading a group of
Yeah.
warriors against Strahd, and we were like, they're the good guys. Let's go.
You're right. It was Silver Dragon in fog,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not notorious for its color depictions.
No,
Um,
like, what is that?
yeah.
Oh, it's a silver dragon.
I remember so specifically was like, no, I don't want to go out there. I was like, Wolf, like, no, we went out there. I was like, shit.
I'll keep pushing this through. But regarding NPCs, because we're kind of touching on like Fog and Voice and all the rest, were there any ways I described or like role played NPCs that like made them more distinctive to you? This is a couple of questions back to back, so just of them all, do anybody stand out in your head like NPCs? You're like, yeah, I could envision them straight away, anything like that, like made
Irina.
them.
Irina.
Yeah?
Ismark. Strahd.
Ismark was notorious for his D20s. I think obviously Strahd, iconic because you'll have practiced a lot knowing you to really perfect that. I think Mordenkainen, as soon as with the voice, it was like, yeah, okay, and your whole mannerisms changing. I was like, okay, yeah, this is crazy old man. got it. Nailed it. Perfect.
Oh, Danica.
Yeah, as I say,
Yeah, Danica.
the whole Blue Water Rain was one of, I think, the first things that made me like fall in love with it.
You know,
I think I worked too hard on Blue Water Inn. I think
It
got a
really
lot of time on Blue Water Inn.
We clearly picked up on that and then didn't want to leave for about 3 months of real time.
Blue Water Inn. If you guys delved into it, my Blue Water Inn was like about like I shit you not. I wrote a small essay on it. It was like, if you inspect the wood grain for Blue Water Inn is like this and all. Like if you like, you know, if you were chugging a log in the fire, it's like, oh, this log it's only been cut in the last week and stuff. Like it's been rested long enough to be thrown in the fire. Like you throw it in, it still ignites anyway. Like there was so much in that fucking tavern, man. Like built off the bat.
Occasional hyperfixation.
Things like Erwin's cooking being the best in the valley and stuff. Like his cooking is the best you had in the world.
It was Isaac as well. Like I remember like you describing Isaac, and I remember thinking as a character, I was like, oh, he's gonna be trouble. Like I was thinking like when you know how he's describing like his demon arm and stuff, you know,
so,
all this demonic arm.
My entry goes to the back of that was obviously before we had the stream, I wasn't using Roll20. That was all theater of the mind. Did your visualization of Isaac line up with the like book's kind of representation, or was it completely different?
I really imagined like this really imposing figure, you know, like in my head, you know, it was very like this demonic, you know, arm. Like you said, you like talked about this great axe. In my mind, I was thinking, it was like, this is not someone we could take on. Like in my head, you know, as a character as well, I was like, we need to try like avoid like this character.
His body shape, his frame, and his general appearance like that, but his face looked different. Not sure. I thought Isaac was bald for some reason. Not sure if he is.
He was.
He was.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I described him as bald. He's a bald guy with like a big demonic like hand.
Never mind. Spot on. Cool. I also remember when we saw the picture for the first time. I think Rob or somebody said, "Oh, look, a teenager during quarantine."
Yeah.
I remember Burgermaster was exactly how I pictured as well. Like you know how you describe like really like strainy, like kind of like wet hair look and.
Yeah.
I instantly didn't like him straight away. I remember when, like, because sometimes how people describe and always get like a feel of what they kind of like. Or when you kind of describe the Burgermeister and interaction, I was straight away, I was like, no. Like, you know, like I had a picture of him, but straight away I was like, no, I don't like the character. Straight away, kind of thing, like.
Oh yeah, he was my perfect pick because he was supposed to be kind of like partially likable. But I think I did it so well. I think since everything around him was so false.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Like for me, I saw him as like this, like you can see him trying to be nice. That's what I got from him. You can see he's trying to be like feed you a few things, but at the same time, something wasn't right about him.
All will be well.
Yeah, it's that whole thing of like he's putting this thing on, but
come join us at the festival of the blazing sun. All will be well.
Yeah, exactly.
It won't be well. It won't be. I don't believe you.
It was that, and it was like,
and then it wasn't well.
Yeah, and it was
right,
like,
it wasn't.
you know, and then we heard about the baker's son. I think it was they getting captured, and like at the church, and it was just like all like kind of coming together. And I was like, no, this is not a man we need to like talk to. Or, like, yeah.
Any other like NPCs kind of stood out?
I think
we've already kind of touched on Ezreal and stuff. Who would you say was like your favorite NPC?
I think everyone's gonna agree with me here, but Mr. Blinksy.
He's no fun.
He's no fun. No. He's not Blinksy.
No, you know what? No, not Mr. Blinksy. The monkey. I remember I gave the monkey like some weird food, and he just started throwing it at me.
Props to you to role-playing Buttons the cat. I really had some. I had some deeper connection with that fucking for some reason.
No, I remember.
And Esmeralda blind, like this fucking cat is attacking me. I had to kick it. Blinksy's monkey was
given to Rictavio.
Originally belonged to Rictavio, the baboon, Piccolo.
Piccolo.
Yeah. He wasn't a baboon, but he used a baboon staple. Yeah, Piccolo and Blinksy.
Yeah. So remember you like giving him some food, and you just like he was like, I always remember how you just chugged it out. And they were saying, and I was like,
yeah, it's a monkey, dude. Fuck you want?
It was great.
It was really good. But those are like I think all their NPCs had a the homunculi or the fucking stitched together creatures of the abbot.
Yeah, the
I'm not sure how they were named.
Mongrel folk.
The mongrel folk, yeah.
Oh my god, Lux loved that. I love that as well. Like,
You really got like all of your NPCs are very like they have their charming character to them. Like you put, I think you put a lot of effort into each of them, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, with your mannerisms, you make a clear distinction between like each character. It's quite easy to like discern who we're kind of almost talking to. Like,
it's something that I aspire to. You know, as a DM, like
the mongrel folk you met were weird ones. So you met Otto and Siegfried, the like half dog man and the half lizard folk, kind of like woman, and they were like, "Whoa, yes, hello, you're here for like very broken and not normal, like.
But Lux loves that. Like that's a lot because they're the most happiest people he's met since he came here. So
and then you met the abbot. He was like, "Welcome to the abbey." It's like, oh, what the fuck is this? You're not joyous at all.
I think you really did you really sold the whole like this is meant to be a nice place, but you know, like you made it like almost like a horror at the same time. Where we got these crazy mongrel folk all caged up and hearing
the abbey's not a pleasant place.
Is it?
Not anymore.
It gave me Outlast vibes. Really Outlast vibes.
Never played it, but I've seen it a few times.
Basically, like, you know, a place that should be good, like, you know, a hospital or like, you know, an abbey, but it's unsettling for some reason, and then you see, oh yeah, this is why.
Honestly, like my biggest vibe from like that whole vibe is like kind of the like Arkham Asylum kind of like everyone here needs help and they're just not getting it.
Like they are, but not the right kind of help.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, I've locked them all up, so they're fine. It's like, that's not what they need. And I guess, like, on kind of off the back of this, like, what was the most memorable, like, NPC moment you remember? Like, out of the whole campaign, like, go all the way back to even, Daggerford, you know, when you're on going on that hill outside the city, or that little small dinner, like, leading into it.
Speaking of Daggerford, I really liked the oldest standing man, and how he was like, what was it? Yeah, when Mimir tried to sneak around, and he was like, yeah, you can bring that guy within the tree as well. He was just, you know, just like this chill, this standing guy who wanted to tell a story.
Aragal, he's called.
Aragal. I really liked him. They gave him like the, how do like the innkeep, almost like innkeep vibes, even though he was, you know, traveling with Stanley.
Is it Aragal? I'm trying to fucking remember. It might not be Aragal for that one.
It's
Stanimir, sorry, Stanimir.
Yeah, tell us a story.
Like,
I'll happily read you his little his block again. Stanimir laughs. Don't worry, we have no wish to make enemies of Lady Mormon. I have a story to tell of you. First you listen, then we go. If the cowards agree to hear Stanimir's story, he invites them to gather around the fire and hear his tale. He fills his mouth with wine and spits into the fire. The flames turn from orange to green as they dance and sway. A dark shape appears in the bonfire's core. We come from an ancient land whose name is long forgotten. A land of kings. Our enemies forced us from our homes, and we now wander the lost roads. The dark shape in the fire takes the form of a man being knocked from his horse, a spear piercing his side. Stanimir continues. One night, a wounded soldier staggered into our camp and collapsed. We nursed his terrible injury and quenched his thirst with wine. He survived, and when we asked him who he was, he wouldn't say. All he wanted was to return home. But we were deep in the land of his enemies. We took him as one of our own and followed him back towards his homeland. His enemies hunted him. They said he was a prince, yet we did not give him up, even when their assassins fell upon us like wolves. Deep in the bonfire, you see the dark figure standing with sword drawn, fighting off a host of shadowy shapes. This man of royal blood fought to protect us as we protected him. We bore him safely to his home, and he thanked us. He said, I owe you my life. Stay as long as you wish. Leave when you choose, and know that you will always be safe here. The figure in the dancing fire vanquishes his final foe, then disappears in a cloud of smoke and embers. Stanimir's face becomes a somber mask. A curse has befallen our noble prince, turning him into a tyrant. We alone have the power to leave his domain. We travelled far and wide to find heroes such as yourselves to end our Dread Lord's curse and put his troubled soul to rest. Our leader, Madame Eva, knows all. Will you return to Barovia with us and speak with her?
That brings me back.
What a beautiful... I mean, that was a year ago today. That would have been probably said.
That reminds me.
Almost today.
The first interaction we had, obviously, because Melville was not a person who, kept gold. I remember I gave him the gold, and you gave me a gold piece back of Strahd. Remember?
With the visage of Strahd.
Yeah, I remember that. But two characters, obviously, I think that always stands out for me was, obviously, because I was new to playing D&D, was meet Madame Eva when you first did the fortunes, and you was talking to us all, and you was talking about the man, and obviously in like the wooden mask, and he was talking about Demir and instantly out in Demir and stuff.
Oh yeah, so great. Love that.
I was like, bruh, no.
And I think the second one was, even though I liked Arena and Ismark, sorry, I liked them, but I think the first time when we met, obviously the people in the Blue Water Inn was when I felt like I really trusted like an NPC, like in this first place, and I've really felt like they really left an impression on me. Like I think we can like be safe with these. I mean, like I liked Arena, Ismark, but there was something different between people in the Blue Water Inn and them. I think it makes sense. But that's just me.
Anyone else, Seeker, Colony? Any favorite NPCs or like memorable moments from NPCs you remember?
I really liked the banter between Esmeralda and Lux. I think they had a really fun dynamic.
Lux, when shit hits the fan, you need to get the fucking...
Or when, like...
You know, I think worked there. I don't know if Lux... I don't know if this was you put in for Lux, but to me, like, I read Lux as like a gay man, and I played Esmeralda as like a hardcore dyke lesbian, like, and that was why I think they got on so well, at least from my point of view, of like, listen up, fucking hell, like, you need to get a fucking grip here, come on. There was no sexual tension there, because they were just mates, they're like siblings in a sense.
It was like, and I think the fact,
Really cool.
do you remember when, I think one of you guys, I think it was Cannon, that said, oh, he's got X-ray vision, that, when I was like, you're like a disco light, see everything, and then you're just like, I think that I remember that.
I think one of the things that I will always remember is when we were having our fight at the old Bone Grinder, and Ismark was every turn loading up his crossbow. Nat 1, Nat 4, Nat
That was
2,
horrible.
Nat 1, and it was like that will always stick with me. But
it was just his, like, it wasn't the fact he was rolling them, it was like, don't worry, I will protect you, Callan! I shot the floor, I'm reloading! Yeah. Do not worry, Namir, I will get you!
We've got...
Fuck!
Wild shaping direwolf around, we've got somebody literally dying because we're level 1 and he just got hit with a lightning bolt to the face, like, and he's like, don't worry, no, okay, but we never found out why he's called Ismark the Letter, but I think we all knew.
Then there was Namir who's like, Demon Kirk. Yeet the torch.
That was a beautiful moment.
And then Max trying to save the babies as well. Oh.
I was expecting you guys to run away for that fight towards Balaki. Like, break contact, flee, or whatever, And then I was like, yeah. I mean, if they go back to Ravenloft, wherever that will be, the hags will come out and deal with them then. Like that, like, just before you sleep, no long rest for you. Like that kind of... Like they got Max with. They got Max with that.
Yeah.
Oh.
The other thing
imagine three of them.
When Max jumped out of the windmill and took that fall damage, and then it was about 3 sessions later when I realised that Featherfall was a spell that I learned. And I had full view of him and the children falling down. It's like, probably...
Freaking Myrtle just plummeting to their almost death.
But
I think one interaction that came shortly after that, again, highly memorable, when we were at the gates trying to get into Vallaki. Because this was all pre-stream, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we didn't stream until, like, Wizards of Wines.
Was it really that late?
Yeah, it was. But the thing is, you say, was it really that late? It was only 2 months in. We started streaming in like January. We started in November.
But,
so
I mean,
from
we
November to January, we were doing like 2 sessions a week, and we were like, like, welcome to fucking Daggerford, welcome to Barovia, welcome to fucking, like, go on the stair pool, welcome to fucking Vallaki. Here's all the shit in Vallaki you're doing. Here's all the shit here. Like, you guys did incredible amounts of that campaign in the short span of time, and then the rest of the book that was like, like a slither of the width, you took a year to do because just scheduling just fucked us.
I think that was before we even had cameras as well, before we knew what each other looked like.
Yeah.
No, we went cameras. No,
I think I asked for cameras from the first session.
And I couldn't because I had a phone and I didn't have my setup that I have now. And I got my webcam and my microphone when we started streaming.
Pretty sure I asked for cameras at the very first session.
Yep, we were doing cameras.
It was one of my clauses. I was like, if you're gonna play, I'm gonna need cameras.
I'm not sure.
Because I want to see people's faces. I want to, like, be able to play off people and, like, get that, like, emotional feed.
Yeah, I was like... to be fair, I didn't have a camera for the fucking longest time.
But you did get... You did kind of pick...
Camera, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I started
this camera in January.
Oh yeah, maybe I think you was right. I think we all had cameras actually. It was just
we did. It was because I think it was the first for the server to have cameras. Like that was like the whole. It was a big thing, like to reveal who we were and stuff. Because Rob had only just moved house.
Oh right, yeah. So we moved.
And he still had boxes behind him and shit.
And we were making jokes about his wallpaper too.
Yeah.
Hey, that's nice wallpaper.
No, it's no. It was, we were saying
wallpaper
there, and then it was there. It was just funny how it changed. That's all. It's lovely wallpaper. Don't worry.
But you did definitely nail like how you depicted Lark. Because when I made that character, I was like, this character is just like he's not defined, but like a kind of like gender, I guess you could say. Because he's a changeling, so his shape changes to whatever he likes. I'm just
he's
like
amorphous.
Yeah, like there's no kind of like Lux is just kind of like. There's no kind of what Lux is. He's just kind of like who he wants to be in that kind of day. Like he uses that as a kind of like.
Is it okay if I turn my camera off? Can you
turn it off? People will ping around, I think, a little bit, but I think we'll be fine.
No. I'll just, you know what I'll do? You can just have me turned off on the stream, and I'll keep my camera on here and just turn off the light.
Done. That'll work for me.
So just the
it's fine. You're not a seeker on my stream, so you're just a blank. Just like throw something over us. We can see it or whatever. But yeah, I'll try to like wrap up. It's just like a general kind of feedback. I think that's always a good place to run off. Like I know that there are areas in my DM craft that I don't really need confirmation from you guys to know I need to make improvements. Like there's obviously areas that I'm going to fall short on or areas I'm going to excel in. I'm kind of roughly aware. I'm not going to tell you them because that defeats the whole point of this fucking purpose. But I don't want to overlook anything that like could need more attention than I've realized. So like, if you want to make any comments, any critiques, any suggestions regarding how I DM you like over the last year and anything you think I could improve, like again, there's no wrong answers. I'm a big boy. I will take feedback on the chin and I will make me 10 times better. But I'd rather you guys were like the way you handle initiative rules is shit, or just tell me, because then the next time I do a campaign like this, I don't have to deal with people being upset about roll out or whatever. I'd rather perfect it and move on, and keep building and building and building. I think it's really important because I think personally, not to be cocky, I think I'm quite a good DM. I think I can handle a lot of shit that gets thrown at me quite well. But I handle it because every single one shot or session I do, I reflect on it and I build on what I've done. That was wank. How can I do that better? And I think, touching all the wood here, Strahd was pretty good overall. Yeah. So what can I improve?
I think, bear in mind, I've done, play-by-post sessions with you. I've done voice-only missions with you. We've done this with the cameras. We had our live couple of one-shots, once as, DM and once as player each. And, I think over the year and a bit that we've been playing D&D together, there's been bits of feedback, just little bits along the way, or bits where, okay, something happened, and, I think one of your skills is recognizing your own, not necessarily points of weakness, but areas for potential improvement.
Yeah.
And you've never needed somebody else to say, hey, by the way, when you did that surprise round, it was terrible, it was unfair, it was not a, the things that are typically like raw DM fiat, I think you handle in a way that is conducive to storytelling and conducive to the fun for the players.
I think you're like really good at recognizing if something went astray, which I don't recall any time where I would feel frustrated with anything. I just had fun all the way through.
That's good considering you killed your character 3 times.
Yeah.
But that was fucking deserved. Like,
yeah.
If I complained, I'd be a fucking hypocrite,
Yeah, I think there was only like one session I didn't like, but that was not on you. That was like there's things going on in my life. I was like disassociating a lot, so I wasn't very like I couldn't be in. It was one of those sessions where I just couldn't. I didn't feel like connected, but it wasn't. It wasn't your fault at all. It was like I was disassociating a lot due to things that obviously happened at my life.
And like I think not to pry on what's happening, because whatever you were going through, it's not my business. And if you want to tell me, you can always tell me in private or another time. Because we're live on Twitch right now. But like if you're feeling stuff like that, I'd rather you just told me, because then I can just say, hey everyone, my bad. Like I'm busy tonight. We can't do it. It doesn't matter. I'll take the hit. I don't care. Like I'd always rather everyone was there and wanting to enjoy themselves and can commit.
Yeah, it was never like probably it was you. It was more like I didn't want to let the group down as well. I think it was more when I was like all I remember was in like Valaki. It was like one of those earlier sessions. It was nothing to do with you, but I remember just not really being with myself at that time. I don't know why I didn't enjoy it, but it was nothing to do with you or your RP. I think it was maybe I don't know what it was at the time. I know it was just I noticed a lot of things were going on in my life at that time, and I remember like it was just me disassociating.
But again, well, like sorry, go ahead, Rob.
I think like I've felt sometimes, not necessarily to the degree that it sounds like you did, but where there's been things going on and I'm like, okay, I need to sort this. Like I know Hannah a couple of times I've messaged, I won't go into detail, but like to say, hey, I just need a bit more time, or I'm going to be starting a bit late, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to have that enough in advance so that you're not all sat around your PCs as I'm dealing with a crisis. But I think I can completely understand where you come from about not wanting to let the group down, because often those pressures that are going on will trigger anxiety or are even brought on by anxiety, and it's only going to make it worse thinking I'm going to need to cancel the session.
Yeah.
And your mind instantly goes to those worst case things. But I know I've gone kind of separately to Hannah and gone, hey, this is a situation, I just need this. And it's never like how long is it going to be? It's just a deal with it, keep me updated.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's like the thing. Like it's the core rule of the server that I run. Yeah. Real life always comes first.
But another thing as well, though, it's like every session we have played, I have felt engaged, and I felt like I can tell you really put like your heart and soul also into DM for us, and really making it good for us and special. Like for example, like when you killed off my character, like I could see it happening, and I was just like, I was prepared.
Please don't phrase it like that. That's what makes you really mean. What if you fucking murdered me?
Well, you ambushed me and put a knife to Melville's throat. You remember that? Huh? You remember that? And but I was like prepared for it. No, I was just like, no, this makes sense, and like, I was never just like, this is not right. This is unfair. It was always like, no, this is like, this is it. This is what happens when you don't, when you're not together. I guess you could say.
Never felt like the things that happened to us were unjust. Like Nimmer dying, he was. It was because of his action.
It was very much like you was on the ball, and it was like, you like when we were like not misplaced, like when we were doing things, you did like this is like if you do silly things or if you're caught even for a second, you will get punishments in a sense. But that's what Strahd is, isn't it? It's the whole point. It's like
it's horrible, dude. It's supposed to be horrible.
And I think you really played on that, and it was.
But it's not supposed to be unenjoyable. I think that's the hardest bit. It's supposed to be horrible, but also I want to come back next week and see what the fuck happens next.
I mean, my best comparison is like Dark Souls. If you're anybody.
Oh yeah.
That's like my best comparison to like that kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
it's hard, but not that hard that I just don't want to play anymore. This is just the ideal tipping point of hard and enjoyable.
It was always, you always made me think in combat, especially as a new player. I was always trying to figure out like new ways to try and combat things or deal with my round, and I think like that you really helped me and like encouraged me to be a better player. And you really learned. I really learned a lot from you as a DM as well, like trying to learn things and like how you deal with things. That's really helped me improve as a DM as well. I feel like.
Oh yeah, same here. Like you and Jester were the two biggest influences on how I try to DM.
No surprises that he was your other influence.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff you come up with.
I think my like DM style is like from what I used to be. I think I've become a lot more strict than what I used to be. I think I used to be a lot more like, yeah, fucking like improv city bitch, come at me, anything you want. And Mom a lot more like improv city bitch, but like also like there are rules about this, so we had to follow the rules. And I kind of want to go back to my improv city bitch kind of like where I was before, because I think I prefer. Although I appreciate the rules greatly and like they're there for a reason, I love being like, what are you trying to do? Like, I want to cast a light cantrip and like, you know, throw a boomerang at this guy's head. Okay, but why? Like, what's the end goal? Let's find a way. Let's roll it and see the fuck happens. I want to get more back into it because that's what I used to do a lot more. Like, because I did it as a safety net because I didn't understand the rules, and I was like, yeah, of course.
And I think a lot of the things about, you know, good DMing and the rule of cool is like, okay, is this something that's going to be exploited? Is it something that is, you know, overpowered or just completely not fair? And I think the only way to get that is to get a fuller understanding of the rules so that you can know when's best to break them.
Yeah,
because and if you're like, if you don't know what's going on, the best thing I can give any device, any sort of DM or any late stage DM is if your player wants to do something and they're like, I'm horrible for it as a player, and I'll do it all the time. I'm like, how far am I from the closest enemy? It's like, like 30 foot. It's like, okay, I'll produce 3 10-foot poles. I'm gonna strap an alchemist fire to one of them, and then I'm gonna duct tape them together. And I'm gonna point it at that enemy's face, and it's like, I'm sorry, and it's like, but if you just were like, what are you trying to do? It's like, I want to get like some poles and like, you know, waggle a fucking like Molotov in this guy's face and blow it up. It's like, okay, sure, let's roll like an acrobatics check for you, like assembling these poles, and then just as opposed to like the player like, yes, this is how we'll fuck over my DM. It's more like a collaborative like back and forth of what you're gonna achieve and shit.
Yeah, because like nobody's gonna break the game by carrying around a single Molotov on a 30-foot pole.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, like, I've been listening to a lot of like Dimension 20 and stuff, and like the stuff they've done, and like I love how he as the DM is running 5th edition in like a not a modern setting, but in like a late 90s, early 90s setting, and it's like, how do you take medieval rulings and put them like, so they've got like a phone. It's like, it's not a phone, it's a crystal. It's like, okay, they got a crystal. I want to like sort of group text. It's like, okay, there's no rules for that, so let's like try to work out what the fuck a group text check is and all that, and like that kind of nice improv-y style.
I've heard like, you know, Roll20 and Dimension 20 is really good for improv. Apparently they're like, he's like, you know, one of the best DMs when it comes to improv. Like apparently he's always.
The thing is though, he understands the rules just enough.
Yeah, like there's some things that he consistently gets wrong, like always applying bless to checks.
But he will get it wrong consistently, and that's fine.
Exactly, and it works for the players. You know, a lot of the time they'll get a free perception check or a free acrobatics check on their turn that's completely out of the action economy. And that's fine, and it's consistent, and it's part of the game, and it actually makes it more fun as well. And it's something
and it goes both ways.
Yep.
Like that's it. Like every time you're like, that's me with like flanking. I get players all the time who ask me, I want to have flanking rules. Like, okay, you can have flanking rules, but my monsters will have flanking rules against you. It's like, okay, I don't want flanking rules. It's like, okay, that's fine. But like, if you want flanking rules, know that I will use them against you. Everything you want, I'm gonna take and I'm gonna twist it.
And that you see a lot of stuff online, like, oh, I want to use create water in someone's mouth. It's like, okay, but the bad guys will be able to do that too, and they're going to learn it pretty quick as soon as you start doing it.
Yeah.
So, are you sure? And then often it's like, oh, you know what? Let's not.
It's what I loved about. I saw a druid from. I mean, Buddha might see what's High Rollers. Do you remember the Elvish druid in High Rollers from season 1?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember whenever she went into the forest on her own, isolated, and met the old woman who taught her blood druidic magic?
Yes.
Was that not the fucking best moment ever?
It really was. It was one of the
So,
things that
to give you a rough concept, she was like, I will teach you blood druidic magic. It is the most powerful magic of all. And it was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, it's amazing. It's so cool. What is this? And she's like, bring me, like, you know, one of these, like, enemies who you've been dragging around. It's like she like, brings, like, a soldier who, like, you know, they've been, like, fighting for, like, years. So these horrible conflict, committed war crimes, shit. It's like, so we do this, like, cuts her arm, and, like, you know, summons this blood and all, and then, like, boils the blood in this soldier. I was like, I will teach you the spell, boil blood, and all. And she, like, learns it. She's like, and she never uses the spell. And it's like, I learned what control water can do, and I don't want to use it anymore. It's this, no. It's like that, and it's like, what an in-character way to just, like, fucking shoot down that, like, can I use control water to, like, boil someone's blood? Like, it's like, of course you can. But you gotta learn it from an NPC first. It's like, But that shit was gold. But yeah, I will round this off because I know we got on quite a while longer than we were previously anticipating. So just like, final call for any bits and bobs before I touch on things. I've got Madame Eva's cheat up because I want to touch on that very, very briefly because you guys don't know a lot about Madame Eva. Of course you know. But you know, there's like the Skeletal Rider. There's the Black Carriage. Like there's so much here in this module, it's huge. You know, but like anything, just like while I'm talking, please think of more things and just like quick fire around, ask me about them, and I will do my best to reply. I might have to look at notes, obviously, because you know it's a book and I'm not a fucking dictionary. But I will do my best to like quickly reply with what the general gist is. So Madame Eva's here ready, unless you guys have anything straight off the bat, you're like, what about this? So just, you know, hit me, and if you can't hit me, I can talk with Madame Eva for a little bit.
Sorry, yeah, go on, buddy.
I was saying, when it comes to, like, because we was very determined to have like, Irina and Ismark with us, like, the whole time.
Yeah.
Was there any way to kind of, like, upgrade them, if that makes sense, or give them more, like, make them more powerful in a sense?
Does
that make sense?
Not mechanically, like, they didn't level with you guys, like, even bringing Ismark and Irina to your party, or even bringing like your ally with the party, Esmeralda, it doesn't affect your XP handout if you're playing non-milestone. If anyone plays Curse of Strahd as a DM or a player, I'd highly recommend suggesting you play it milestone based because I think it does work better for like what they're achieving.
Because I know you said because the reason why I asked, because I know Irina can be like when your cards aren't see as your ally. I'm just wondering, like, do we just get Irina as that kind of like?
By the book, you get Irina as you find her. I think I would, you know, make if you guys got Irina or Arbella or something like that, I would give them a unique, like, monster block at the very least to like give them an edge. You know, like I've seen some great things with like Irina as a bard because Tatiana probably was a bard. Based on what you could do and stuff, like so you can like Bard can inspire you and help you out. She's all about support and helping you and giving you a helping hand and all that shit. And that's like what you want. Like Esmeralda, she's like a fountain of knowledge, but she is also Esmeralda is her own main character. Like Irina will give you that help action, and Esmeralda will take the attack action to kill the fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what you're dealing with, I think, every single time. Like and they're different characters, and that's you. I drew Esmeralda, and like. That's who she is. Like, I would love to one of you guys to have had that, like, final killing blow on Strahd, like, twice in a row. Esmeralda got both, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Esmeralda turned him to his,
She got a crit on the very last one.
Yeah, and then she clunked him with a loaded stick. Like, she got the kill. And from a DM point of view, that feels kind of shitty because that wasn't my game, but also at the same time, like, that is exactly what that character would do. And if she didn't do it, and she held and waited, and you all died, that wouldn't have been good. That wouldn't have been fun.
Yeah.
And that's the best look of it. Like, it's a very hard balance. You gotta kind of, like, find that, like, it's fun to have the NPC do this, as long as we all don't die.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing as well is, she was so much a part of the group by that point, because we'd gone on so much with the journey, that she did feel like another one of us, rather than just an NPC.
Yeah, that's...
And her, like, fucking, you know, going against you all and killing Stella or like knocking us unconscious or and all that shit. Like that whole, which got charmed. Like that was a horrific moment of like this very powerful spellcaster who like groomed up to be amazingly powerful is now against us. Like what the fuck?
So as a question, I suppose, just kind of going on the quickfire, I think I know one answer to this, which is when you killed Nemea at the Bone Grinder. But were there any moments where, in that moment, as a DM, you thought, "Oh, I've messed up here"? Like instant regret moments of like, "Oh, I wish I could just rewind the last 60 seconds."
With Strahd, no. I think I was very clear when we went into this campaign what to expect, and like it kind of gave me not an immunity, but it gave me a shield of like, yes, I've killed your character, but I did say when we started, character death is very likely, and that whole vibe. The only thing I might have like regretted was the Wizards of Wines. I honestly, that made me so sad as a DM, because I didn't want to destroy the Wizard of Wines winery. I fucking loved them all. The Martikovs are amazing, and I did not want to smash it all up or like whatever. Like I didn't want that. Like it really upset me as a DM because it was like, okay. I remember saying to George, I was like, I thought that I got in the bed. She's like, you're right. I was like, yeah. They went back to Vallaki, and she was like, I don't know what that means. And I was like, hey, we have got to destroy the Wizards of Wine Winery, because that's what it says in the book. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And I was like, yeah. And like, but I was like so sad, because it was like, this is like the only fucking good place bar Vallaki. I've got to wreck now and kill everyone. I think that's why I went for the like improv, like, the Martikovs flew down and met you and were like, you know, it's gone, it's all gone, like that, like, at least they got out kind of moment. I think I needed that for myself, not for you guys.
Makes sense.
You know what? It's one of those things where, like, I saw the Wizards of the Wine as, like, a next safe haven. So going back to it, knowing that you got destroyed, it was such a heart-wrenching thing for me. I was like, you know, I was like, we've just saved this Wizard of Wine, we've just found a new HQ, pretty much, you could say. You know, it's close to all the places we need to go. I was like, this is great. And when we come back to it and we saw it's destroyed, I can't tell you, like the dread I felt. I was like, wow, like we really fucked up.
Oh no, so I was slightly wrong. So I'm going to read you Winter Splinter attacks and it'll read into it. If the characters leave the winery and return at a later time before dealing with Winter Splinter at Yester Hill, the enormous tree blight is sent to ravage the winery and destroy it. The characters arrive to find the grapevines trampled and the winery in utter ruin. The Winter Splinter's tracks are clearly visible on a trail to the south. Characters who follow the cracks catch up with the Splinter as the blight is leading his way back to Winter Hill. The Martikovs narrowly escape the carnage and flee to Bluewater in Vallaki. Davia Martikov is crushed by the loss of the winery, and morale in Vallaki sinks to an all-time low, as word of winery destruction spreads for the town. And if you guys hadn't gone to Perez, which would have affected you all, 3 days after the attack, Baba Lasaga dispatches all the scarecrows from Perez and orders them to take up positions in the vineyard to discourage the were-raisins from returning. The scarecrows attack anyone who crosses the vineyard or approaches the ruined winery.
Jesus.
So if you hadn't dealt with them, they would have been there instead. Like, that's it. Like, that's what I mean. Barovia is all connected. Like that is what is so good about this module. It's like, yeah, like all these enemies in this area, they go there instead. It's like, oh, amazing. It's me there in and like fucking Ravenloft, like, oh, you're going this way? Okay, cool. Let's spin in that plate. And you're gonna look down that corridor? Okay, that's fine. Let me just balance out my nose. Okay. So you're going down that corridor? Okay, that's great. And I put that on my elbow. Okay. And you're gonna go here? Cool. Sound. No worries. So we'll just balance that plate up there, spinning. Okay. Oh, fucking hell. Like, it's like that. It's like a horrible amalgamation of, like, there are so many things going on at all times in Barovia.
Yeah, but you did a really good job, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, there is.
I fucked some things up, but I think I covered them all so well you guys had no idea.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, like I didn't know what was improv, what was from the book, what was extras, what was, you know.
It's because like I do this, and I'd be like, that's the most important thing. If you're a DM, doing a fucking huge module, it's like, just give me a sec. Let me just make sure I've got this right for you guys.
Yeah, and we just RP with ourselves for a bit.
Role play with yourselves for like 2 minutes while I read this like paragraph, or you know, just chat bullshit. Like it's fine. There's no worries. Yeah. That's great. And then you just take a second, read through the chapter again, read through the little section again, whatever. Like just take the time, and if you're still not getting it, call a break.
Make sure it's
call 15-minute break, 20-minute break.
I think,
and get it.
Yeah,
because they'd rather that. I think every player would rather they took a 20-minute break and got like what they wanted to get out of a session than like, our DM fucked up and like, and now our monk is like dead and our druid he can't stop being a bear for some reason. Like, you'd always rather you just got it right and like, you know, dealt with it in the moment, like as it was supposed to be written or whatever.
I know, like, my friend once told me that Arena turns into like a paladin, so I was wondering if that was like I don't know if that was a homebrew thing for him, because I know
that's
he said
homebrew.
he did it.
Yeah. That'd be cool though.
Yeah, it's very cool. I've seen lots of twists on Arena, loads of twists. I've seen like a modified stat block on Arena where she actually gets a -5 penalty to Strahd's charm ability because she's already succumbed to it so many times.
Would you, when it came to the lake, was that kind of thing you decided like then and there, or was that like you had that plan before?
You mean the eye from the one lake?
No, the arena, like losing arena to.
Oh, you mean in Krezk, the pond?
Krezk, yeah, the pond. Sorry. Was
Yeah,
that
like
a planned
this.
out thing, or was that like kind of thing like I think I'm
That
gonna do this?
is in the book.
Oh, that's in the book.
That is in the book.
Is that her reuniting with Sergei?
That is the only legitimate way to save Irina and Sergei.
Oh, really?
It is called, the event is called something blue. If the players bring Irina Kolyana to Krezk, as the priest Donovich suggested back in Barovia, Irina hears a gentle voice calling to her, and it slowly will lead her to the edge of the blessed pool. If the characters follow her read, as Irina reaches the pool's edge, an image appears in its sparkling blue waters of a handsome youth of kind and noble visage. The sadness in his eyes for the sudden joy. "Tatiana!" he says. "It has been so long. Come, my love. Let us be together at last." Irina gasps and puts a hand on her heart. "My beloved Sergei! In life we were a prince and a man of faith. We were to be married long ago. Has this blessed pool called your spirit to me?" She reaches toward the water surface as the hand of water rises to take hers. And if the characters intervene and pull her away from the water's grasp, the hand sinks away back into the pool, Sergei's image fades, and she screams and cries his name. As no check needed, they just tear her away. And that instantly removes the thing. Because remember what happened? I was like, "Max, are you stopping it?" It's like, no. I like step back or whatever. It's like a hesitation.
Yeah,
And
he was convinced for several sessions afterwards that
yeah,
she'd been taken by Strahd.
He asked me, like, you know, if he trusted the water, I think, or he insided it and just let it happen after the back of the inside check. And then if the characters allow her to take the hand, read, Irina is pulled into the pool and embraces Sergei beneath the rippling water. You have never seen happier couple as they both begin to fade from view. And the spirit of Sergei takes Irina to a place where Strahd can no longer harm her. She is safe with him. Whether or not Sergei takes Irina, Strahd sensitive to found her, and he reacts as follows. A peal of thunder shakes the land, and the dark clouds coalesce into a terrible visage. A deep, dark voice from beyond the mountains cries out, "She is mine!" And a terrible crack resounds as blue lightning splits the sky and strikes the pool. Each creature within 15 foot of the pool must succeed a yada yada yada, take damage, yada yada yada. Anyone in the water takes more damage, yada yada yada. Strahd's Wrath destroys the blessing on the pool, rendering it non-magical and preventing the spirit of Sergei from manifesting again. And if Sergei and Irina are brought together, Irina is saved from Strahd's grasp. Strahd seeks a character who's lost and seeks to restore them from this moment on with no hesitation lost. Not long afterward, he has one of the servants left in the character in Van Castle Ravenloft for dinner. The intention to murder them at the dinner table. Like, it goes from Strahd being like, come have dinner with me, like, come have dinner with me, I'm going to fucking kill you! Like I thought that was it. Like, that was whenever the Blood Moon arrived, if you remember, in our game. The second she delved in that pool, I give all of Barovia Blood Moon, because Strahd was enraged.
Wait,
You know what?
Blood Moon do anything?
Reading that gave me goosebumps.
Every time you guys had a random encounter, I rolled it with advantage.
Oh boy.
Apart from in Ravenloft, because I think, honestly, Ravenloft for even 11 level characters is hard enough. Like, oh my god, some of the shit you can roll there, like, you can encounter Strahd in Ravenloft, like, out of a d20. And he just walks through the floor and leaves and comes back later. Like, he will just be like, I am Strahd! You're like, burn all our important shit on Strahd! And then, like, you know, he's like, I have 50 hit points left. I go to my crypt and re-heal all of them in 4 seconds. And it's like, we're fucked. It's horrible. Because he has, like, potions in his treasury. He has, like, you know, X, Y, and Z everywhere throughout the castle. Like, every treasure block in Castle Ravenloft, it's not your treasure, it's Strahd's.
Yeah.
He knows where it is, where it's hidden, what's going on. Like, I had the Simulacrum attack you guys, and I had Strahd in the wings, like, ready to jump in. And I was like, he wouldn't jump in. He's gonna watch. See what happens. Watch what they do. And he watched, like, things like, oh yeah, they got a Sun Sword. Amazing. They've got, like, this, like, you know, one of them cast Spirit Guardians. Cool. I better make sure whenever I do encounter them, I do it in the crypts, because I've got lots of walls left to hide behind. So, like, if you guys went to the crypts, and Strahd, like, saw you all pull your fucking regular bullshit or whatever, and, like, you know, then ran away, he'd be like, okay, cool. I will stay in the crypts, because I have so much an upper hand down here than you guys do.
Like, I think you started off earlier saying Strahd could kill everyone and it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
And you've got to kind of play on his arrogance and stuff. And I think, although
if you play Strahd as a murderer, dude, he's dead. You'll die. You all die. Like, he can literally, like, fight you all. He'll do a round of combat, 2 legendary actions. Final legendary action, I walk through the ceiling. What? I walk through the ceiling. You walk through the ceiling? I'm gone now. No opportunity attacks, by the way. That's part of my legendary action. Goodbye. I'm in the ceiling now. Like, what the fuck do you do? Like, you run back to the stairs that go all the way to the chapel, and then find yourself in the chapel, like, 40, 50 foot up, and then we need to get, like, 20 foot on, because he must be in a level below us. Where's the level below? I don't fucking know. Fuck. Okay, let's go back down to the catacombs where he was before. Maybe he'll show up again. Go down there. He's not here. There's a million bats down here. We're getting fucked. Like, it's horrible. I played Strahd, like, honestly, I played Strahd so tame in that fight.
Here's a question then, because I said I don't really know the items. What was the item Cannon picked up? Like, what did it do?
What one?
The loots or something.
It was a DOS loot.
Yeah.
And what was
it's a good job. It's a good job that I managed to succeed on that save. Then.
Yeah, you would have fucking killed yourself.
Yeah.
What's a DOS loot?
It's an instrument of bards.
Oh, I don't know what that is, but I'll look it up.
It's a magic item. Basically, if you play it and you're not attuned to it, it deals like 8d6 psychic damage or something insane.
Jesus. And what was the item Deluxe picked up as well?
The Icon of Ravenloft.
Oh, so it was actually a magic item. Oh yeah, I knew it was magical, but It was actually like a big thing.
I actually just realized I didn't include the DOS loot in Callan's magic items.
Oh yeah. Let's take that one offline.
Yeah. I wouldn't give you the DOS loot because they're all fucking insane. I would downgrade it to the cheapest one.
28,500.
Yeah. They're all insane. I probably just give you like a level 2 ribbon drum.
Yeah.
Just do that.
For
fairness, I think that's because I think I gave like Seeker like. I think I can give you the similar to the
Book.
the amulet, didn't I? The holy symbol.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll have to be hopping off soon at some point. But I'll
Yeah, it's fine. I think at this point we're not really talking about anything like super important. We're kind of like spewing the shit. You are talking about the Icon of Ravenloft. The Icon of Ravenloft is a legendary item. Requires a creature of good alignment to attune to it.
Oh, so I could've used
A
it.
12-inch tall statuette made of the purest silver, weighing 10 pounds. It depicts a cleric kneeling in supplication. Whenever within 30 foot of the icon, every creature... Oh, sorry. While in 30 foot of the icon, a creature is under the effect of a protection of good and evil spell against fiends and undead. That's everyone. Within 30 foot of it.
Oh.
Good or bad, it just happens. And an attuned creature can use augury. You can use an action to cast the augury spell, requiring no material components, once per day. You can also use Bane of the Undead to use it as a holy symbol while using Turn the Undead or Turn the Unholy feature, increasing the DC by 2. And finally, you can cast the Cure Wounds spell at level 3, so 3d8 plus 3 hit points.
So, if I could have tuned
Once
that,
per
that
day.
would have been big. That would have been big. Jesus. I didn't know I had that. I didn't know how good it was. I saw a magic statue, so I took it.
Yeah. You know the best bit? If Max picked it up, he would have died.
Really?
He nearly touched it as well, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you touched the thing? He was like, nah, I touched the mace. Like, okay.
Wait. Oh, was that in the book or something? Wait.
He was evil. Any creature of non-good alignment.
Which would have included me at that point, because Callum was neutral.
It's not straight up death, but it's pretty bad. It's DC 17 Constitution saving throw, taking 88 average 16 D10 radiant damage on a failed save.
Jesus Christ. In other words,
Oh,
in other words, I should have just run the statue right next to Strahd, like, touch this, just rub it.
But it has to be in contact with the altar, because the second you remove it from the altar, it no longer is under effect.
Gotcha.
That's why, like, you were like, I offered to like Callan from later. I was like, oh, you let him touch it. That was the session. I was like, you let him touch it. I like really dragged out that whole thing, like knowing full well, like after like the altar.
You made me do the bloody save as well.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
You made me do the save as well, because I know I rolled like a.
Of course I did.
Something. But obviously I was good at lying, so nothing happened.
Didn't matter. You all thought you were like cursed or something. You were like, oh fuck, something bad's happened, and like.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't. So I made you roll it to see if you'd be affected or not. Who cares? You were never going to be affected, but the fact you had to roll for it made you scared. And that's entirely what Curse of Strahd is about.
That was a good idea.
So I will take this opportunity to ask Seeker if he has any questions, because I know he's going to like probably fall asleep because he's got to get up tomorrow and stuff.
Not the real question. I also want to say, when I rewatch the streams, I look really zoomed out. I apologize. It's just I concentrate. It's just I just look really strange while doing so. But I do pay attention.
Also, rewatching the streams and the TikToks and stuff like that makes me realise that I definitely do need a new camera, not just for quality but for angle. Because like it's catching all of my dozen chins here. This is not a good look. I can cover it with as much beard as I want. But...
I was going to go high. You go to a high. I'm going to go my left arm here. There's no right way to me. You gotta go up. The camera's gotta be from. Yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna heal anybody. It's from an upward perspective. It's more flattering on your face and features.
See, I think I've always been one stream. I was just munching on so much food, and someone on the stream was like, "I like this guy. He keeps on eating." I'm like, "What?"
Like I always rewatch the streams, or the YouTube videos just out of interest, and I just like, oh shit, I look stoned.
I've always really loved playing this group. I think it's a really good group. I think if we can get our fucking schedule like down to a T, I think we'd be in a great place. Being like, yeah, every Tuesday, like that'd be amazing. If you could be like every Tuesday for even like 2 hours, I think it'd be laughing.
Like every Tuesday.
To be fair, we have been doing that consistently for the past couple months, wasn't it? It has.
Yeah, but my new job, I don't know. I tried to push it in my interview. I was like, yeah, I need like every Monday, Tuesday off, and they're like, we can't guarantee that. And I was like, but if no one else is requested on holiday or is sick, surely I can have it then. Like, come on. And they've given me my first week, so I'm hoping they'll give it to me, but I'll give it like a little bit of time for us to, push the boat out proper. Or I'll just leave
I'll put it like
and
this.
find a new job.
I personally am free any day of the week, except every other Saturday.
See, me and Vil can't do like weekends at all because the hospitality hardcore. I know Vil can only do Tuesday, Wednesday. So I think Tuesday would be a good day. If we can try to set it aside, that'd be good for us. But I'll try to push through it and see what we can get. But
with my uni work and obviously me working as well, I do try to make as much time as possible.
Yeah, man. Basically, I'm always free in the evenings. Because
all I will ask is Buddha, please unmute the Curse of Strahd chat because fucking hell, man, no more stressful. Like it's the day off. It's like I'm gonna phone Buddha to see if he's gonna show up. You here? Oh, I've just woken up. What year is it, Marty? When did you go back?
Right. So when I think one of you guys pinged me to look at my, I think it was Rob to tell me, I legit have like 60 messages. I have.
Oh yeah.
I just realised Vil's messaged me twice. RGC's messaged me. Auto's messaged me. I just don't look at my DM. Like it's one of the things.
I think we should maybe stick to a WhatsApp or something. Honestly, because at least then it's separate from Discord.
Oh no.
He's only gonna mute that.
Oh no, I don't. I've muted whole of WhatsApp because my work group's on it. I can't.
Just don't mute us. I'm just saying, just don't mute the one chat you pay fucking attention to. That's all I'm asking. I'm saying mute everybody else. Go fuck themselves.
Different. Yeah.
And I'm permanently on do not disturb, I think, on Discord as well, so I just don't get any notifications.
Yeah.
WhatsApp is
Dude, I got that all the time. I had a guy today on Facebook, and he was like, I'm about to your flat to pick up this shelf, and I was ignored his text 25 minutes. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, so sorry, I was in the shower.
But all my friends though, I'm an awful texter. I just sometimes I sometimes reply, but I only reply
despite your awful texting, you do tend to show
time.
up on time, 9 out of 10 times.
When you know that you're turning up, you're on time.
Yeah.
I'm usually a consistent 1.5 minutes late, but that's built in. It's just Rob's standard time. Vil is 15 minutes late with food. Casmus is always early.
Yeah.
I am going to have to disappear.
Anything else just to round it all off? We all shoot off anything at all we want to touch on, or we can do this again. I don't mind.
I've really enjoyed this. The debrief. It's really helped cleanse and get stuff out and kind of wrap it around.
Yeah.
All I can really say is thank you for everyone who's watching us play Strahd.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
All of us, and it's been one of my favorite D&D memories, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it too.
This will definitely be something to treasure for me.
Yes, me too. And
maybe I'll run it again in the future for a different group, or maybe for the same group. Who knows? Mix that up a bit.
Oh, wait, Did Nimir's body ever been found?
Nimir's body is burned, I think.
God damn it. Revenant Nimir died. Oh well.
But I think the fact that we've got a lot of it recorded, really, I think we makes it we can treasure this and look after it.
We can rewatch it,
I'm so ready to hit Strahd again, twice as hard from the start. And drag it out for a year. Because we only really have half of it on stream. Really. I know it's taken a year and like 2 months weren't on stream, but those 2 months we were like pumping out consistently like 2-3 sessions a week.
I feel like if we have, I'm happy to like do Strahd again, especially with you as DM. But I feel like we definitely need to do maybe something else, like maybe 2 campaigns or something, and then come back to it.
Oh yeah, I don't want to go straight back into it. I want time to get away, and to be honest, I want to give you guys time to like forget. I'm like, because I'm not gonna fucking rewrite a module.
Yeah, because
if I'm gonna rewrite a module, I'll just do a homebrew thing. Like, you know what I mean?
It sounds silly, but like when I get to something I really like or a film I really like, I actually try to force myself to forget it. So then when I can rewatch it again, I'm like, oh, I don't remember this, and that's what I'm trying to do with Strahd. I've kind of like vaguely forgotten about a lot of like the start parts, but in like the proper details and how we got there and stuff.
For those who want to stick around, by the way, I'm not going to dwell on it because it's all in the book, and you can all read it on D&D Beyond or whatever. Madame Ava is Strahd's half sister, and that's all you're getting from me. Have a good night, people.
What?
Yeah, that's it. Plot twist: Madame Ava, Strahd's half sister. I'm gonna call it there because I'm probably gonna just play some more Far Cry or something silly.
But yeah, I'll turn on my list for this.
You guys can tune in to my Far Cry stream and ask you guys in the chat, or I'll
I will now go and pass out. But thank you again a lot.
Wow.
Even though I sometimes look a tad like dead, I do really enjoy it, and I thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I mean, you got me this lovely camera. I know that it doesn't make much difference on these streams, but it does make difference on every other stream that I go close up. So it all does work out, I promise.
I like it. I like to see people react. I like to see your fucking cat face when you pull a simulacrum on us.
This camera, I've worked out the fucking lighting for it now, and my green screen is better than it's ever been.
Fantastic.
So it's almost unnoticeable now, like 9 out of 10 times.
And that's what we want. That's what we want. Perfect.
Exactly.
But I'm just really happy for the group we have. This is like you guys are amazing, and I'm happy.
You too, man.
Have a lovely night,
you guys.
Alright, guys. I mean, again, if you want to I will stay in this channel for in Discord or whatever, but I'm gonna just probably kill the camera a little bit in here. But if you'll stay in chat, I'll gladly stay in chat. I'm just gonna play some Far Cry and chill out because George is out session hard and having a good time. So I'll gladly stay in chat, but you will be live if you want to talk anything about Strahd or anything like that. Like, I'm just gonna transition over to a game to play it also at the same time while doing so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be hopping off in a few minutes.
But yeah,
it's fine, dude.
Me too. But I'm probably gonna be like casually probably watching your stream. I might pop in later. But thank you again though. But I need to do some artwork, so I need to.
Yeah, man, dude, 100%.
Well, thank you
Not
again.
real. And anything else we haven't touched on that we want to touch on just before we round it all off? I think that just to make sure, because I'll gladly come back to this, but probably not on stream. So anything you got questions about, or what about this or this character or this interaction? Let's just if you have anything I know obviously.
I did have a whole page of the things I wanted to ask you. I can't find it, so it'll probably have to be something off stream.
That's fine. It's totally fine. Yeah. Just let me know.
Thanks. Oh yeah, thank you. And
that's fine, man.
Have a lovely night. Bye bye.
Take it easy, guys. Peace. Oh, go ahead.
Just a quick one. It's more on my performance as a player, because I know I tend to be a tad in the back with Seeker as a character. As in, he didn't engage too much socially due to mostly we had 2 party faces with Callan and Max, who were, for me at least, the main driving force story-wise.
Yeah.
So if you were still content with how much I engaged in the sessions and all that.
I think myself and every player in who or every viewer who watched, I think Seeker was one of my favorite characters personally. I really enjoyed how he got on with the other group, considering he came in kind of fresh. Because even Lux slotted in and just filled a void immediately, but Seeker didn't fill a void. Seeker was just kind of he was already partially native to Barovia, and I think that was really, really nice.
I'm glad to hear that, because I'm still not the happiest with this character, because I made him randomly almost.
Yeah. But I think, honestly, for a random character, dude, he turned out fucking amazing.
I'm glad to hear, and
a big fan of Seeker. And have you kept them on the server?
No, I personally didn't want to too much. I like the idea of him just wandering around. Like, not sure. I might do in the future. I'm just uncertain now. Because I don't want to retire him. That I know.
There you go. Bring him back.
Yeah, I'll see. I might use him as like a DM NPC at some point. Just to run a quest or two.
Yeah, man, do it. 100%.
But yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to bed now. That's basically. Just wanted to check that, and I'm glad. And I thank you again for this. It was really good. And
Honestly, man, it was my pleasure. I had a great time the last year. I saw at the end of my COVID and all that shit. It was a constant that I was much happier having, I think is the best to describe it.
Definitely. It was like one of the things you could always look forward to.
Definitely, dude. Definitely.
But yeah. Have a fun stream. Have fun with Far Cry 6. Need to check it out at some point. And
Yeah, man. I mean, if you're not too sleepy, if you're struggling to sleep, I've been going currently for over 11 hours right now today alone. This is my last day.
I will see. I'll see. I still have to. Funny enough, I have to study for today.
Yeah, fucking hell, man. The goddamn Czech schooling system, it's too good. You're too smart and intelligent.
It's not even smart. It's basically like they just want us to memorize everything. Like, I have currently in my brain about 8 A4s of biology texts for Wednesday, and I know I'll forget all of it on Thursday.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Like, I made jokes about it in general chat, like, we learn how spiders piss.
Yeah, do it and forget about it. School is it needs a big rehaul, honestly. Every schooling system, I think, it needs to go more towards the coursework. Kind of like, here's your resources you can have, and like, what you can build off the back of that, as opposed to just it's a big fucking memory game. Welcome to fucking.
Personally, I think from my point of view, it would be better if the school has like, yeah, you were like this and this old, you might have idea of what your future might be. So pick the classes that you want to graduate from and focus on those classes because you'll need those the most, and keep like the basic ones like basic math and basic language.
Yeah, but I want to graduate school with like computing as my thing, and then I did like a week of work experience. It's like, oh, I want to kill myself. I did that in my final year. I was like, I'm glad I wasted 4 years of my life to realize I want to kill myself, and then drop down to the performing arts degree. The thing is, I think asking children to pick their future, age realistically age 13, 14, it's not appropriate.
Oh, it's different in the UK. Here, basically, here we have something similar to it. It's a lot of more strict. Like you pick seminars here.
Yeah.
Sure like that's the most extent. I feel like at the age of 15, 16, you could have at least you'd know what classes you're good at and what talents